Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Oh, dude. This is what we waited for all weekend, isn't it, Josh?
It's my favorite time of the week.
Right here.
Right away on Monday. Got the whole week to look forward to.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. What we waited all weekend for. We appreciate it very much. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of an airplane overhead. That's Dana and his latest wife leaving town on their honeymoon.
They're having a drink at the bar right now.
Already?
Yeah, I saw a picture of that.
Theater of the mind, Ashley. It's one of the first lessons you learn in radio. You try to paint a dramatic picture of.
Well, the bar
They're having
in
a
the
drink
plane.
at the bar.
They
Yeah.
have a very fancy plane. There's a bar in the plane.
I was kind of hoping to, like WCCO does on Christmas Eve, where they say, "Do you see that light up in the sky? That's Santa Claus up there."
I wanted to talk about how jealous I am that he's having a bloody right now.
Yeah.
How nice.
We all went out this past Saturday night and watched the silly bastard get married.
That was a blast.
I kind of wish I would have been the one that married that gal on Saturday night, so I could be the one with the week off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to go to Mexico and have a couple of...
No, just so I could have the week off.
That's it. No matter what you do?
No, I wouldn't be going to Mexico.
That was one of the most fun weddings I think I've ever been to.
I
Really?
stayed way too late.
That's what I heard. We thought you were leaving at the same time as us, and I talked to Dana yesterday, and he mentioned that you pretty much closed that sucker down.
Yeah, we wanted to do some dancing. Well, I guess my fiance was doing most of the dancing for me, and I was just standing there watching him. But I was really interested because they had late night pizza that was coming.
Sure.
I didn't want to miss that.
It was kind of hilarious. Now that you're eating for two, there's a change. There's definitely a change in the amount you're eating and how often you're hungry. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I made the mistake. You're supposed to eat when you're pregnant like every 3 or 4 hours so that you don't get lightheaded or all weird. And I didn't really think about it that day because I was busy getting ready, making sure my dress was nice. And I went like 7 hours without eating, and I thought I was going to pass out until your wonderful wife gave me purse food.
Yeah, my wife always has purse food. We've mentioned it before. Purse tuna, that's a staple. She has purse protein bars, purse popcorn. She's ready for the apocalypse. Or in this case, a starving pregnant lady.
Yeah, she saved my life.
So how late did you stay?
Until a little after 10.
Oh.
Yeah, because we left at 8 something.
8 o'clock.
And it seemed like it was kind of winding down a little bit, but maybe they were just setting up for the next thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people dancing still.
I thought
when
you were
left.
going to say, midnight or 1 or something. Okay, 10 o'clock.
There was a moment the couple have their first dance. And I said to Nick, we're sitting next to each other at the dinner table there, and I said, he better not be a better dancer than me. And Nick said, everybody's a better dancer than you.
Yes.
And he started dancing, and damn it, he was a better dancer than me.
He wasn't great.
No, he wasn't good.
But everyone is a better dancer than you.
Yeah, he was less stiff than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
It was a good song choice, too.
I forgot what it was.
Lover by Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't recognize it then.
Don't know that one. Congrats to those 2 kids.
That was a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what, out seeing the world together on the honeymoon.
I also, on their behalf, want to thank my mailman. I've mentioned before, I love my mailman, Craig. And I checked the mail on Friday, and he had dropped off a birthday card for me, and he dropped off a wedding card for Dana. I had no idea he even listened to the show. I got to know Craig a little bit. We've never talked about that, but that was very sweet of him. And, of course, some treats for the dogs. He does that quite often.
I'll be damned.
And Dana wanted to make sure I passed his appreciation along.
Off to Mexico, they are. So, really, you've been texting with them this morning?
No, they just posted a picture on Instagram.
Oh,
I checked it out.
I forgot to tell Dana something Saturday night at his wedding reception. And I feel stupid about this. I forgot to tell him. You want to know what I forgot to tell him, Josh?
What'd you forget?
I forgot to tell him not to go to Mexico.
I did tell him not to go.
You did?
Yeah, I warned him that there's several reasons you shouldn't go, but I think he's dedicated.
Here's why I wanted to talk to him Saturday night at his reception, and I just slipped my mind. So Dana got married Saturday night. Saturday morning, I went out to breakfast with some old grade school bros, and one of them had just got back from Mexico. He went there on vacation with his family. So this was a week and a half ago or something. This pal of mine just returned from Mexico, where he picked up something called dengue fever.
In Mexico? I didn't know you could get that.
That's what he tells me. He went, again, on vacation, came home, felt like deep fried ass. His doctor thought he had effing malaria, but after looking a little further into it, they decided he had dengue fever.
Oh, my God.
Now, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds like something that everyone caught in the jungle movies that were set in the 1940s.
That's what I'm picturing.
I'd only expect to catch dengue fever if I had recently visited Kong Island or something, but this is apparently something that one of my oldest friends picked up down there.
Is that different than dengue fever?
Maybe that's what he said.
Oh, yeah, because
maybe that's what he said.
Dengue is what I picture. You go to the Congo and you come back with your eyes bleeding.
Yeah, it's from a mosquito, it says.
Okay, what my bro picked up, he said, was from a mosquito. So which one did he catch?
I always thought it was called dengue.
Okay, that's likely the correct answer. I don't speak these languages, so dengue fever. I couldn't believe. I just thought, huh?
Oh, it says right here that it is it's having a rise right now in popular spring break locations.
Oh,
so
no.
There you go.
I mean, yeah.
Yay! Oh,
dengue
dang.
fever. Yeah. My buddy tells me he just, like I said, he felt horrible. And then, maybe this was the liquor talking, but he tells me he was hanging around 106-degree temperature.
Jeez, you can melt at that.
Whoa.
I don't know. And so I learned
Your brains will melt.
I learned it Saturday morning. I'm blown away by this. Like, what? I did not know these effing things existed anywhere other than the movies. Malaria, dengue fever. I learned this Saturday morning and completely forgot to tell Dana, look, cancel that trip. I forgot to tell him at his reception.
Yeah, there are a lot of articles that say, warning.
Really?
Yeah.
And do they mention Mexico?
No, not that I can see right now.
But it mentioned spring break locations?
Yep.
I know a couple guys who brought something home from spring break, but it wasn't a fever.
Yeah, they earned that.
Oh, malaria? How is this still making the rounds in the year 20 and 25? Or did Josh, did a political party create another disease in order to throw an election? It just, I couldn't believe what I was hearing at breakfast Saturday morning. Malaria? I didn't know. Or maybe it was dong fever. Now, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So, I should have warned.
My wife had that when we were first married. She's since been cured. Thank God they fixed that.
Ah, man. One of the most fun weddings you've ever been to, huh, John?
Yeah, I had a blast. And I'm not trying to be cheesy, but I think a big part of it is I got to spend a lot of time with you. I got to see Ashley's baby bump, which
Boy, you are baby crazy.
I am. I'm telling you, I'm more excited about it than anybody in Ashley's family.
Yeah.
I'm the most. She got me a T-shirt that said "Honorary Uncle." It's my favorite T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm starting to.
You've got baby fever.
I do. My wife tried to get me in trouble with Ashley over the weekend.
How so?
She on Friday, I think it was. She's like, "Hey, can you text Ashley and ask what she's going to be wearing to the wedding?" My wife wanted to figure out what she should wear, and I started texting Ashley. Thank God I used voice to text because I could hear it as I said it. I said, "Hey, Ashley, what are you wearing?" And then I had to stop and tell my wife, "No, you text her. I can't ask Ashley what she's wearing." It made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I sent her back a picture. Like, that's such a complete normal girl thing to do.
Well,
Yeah, I never texted anybody to ask what they were wearing.
Oh, yeah, that's very normal.
you've texted me before and asked me what I was planning on wearing to big events.
I have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I was a different guy back then. I had
you?
dong fever.
Yeah, you were riddled with dong fever.
Maybe I did ask if you were going to wear jeans.
Well, not this event.
Oh,
but
past
at
events?
past events.
Oh, okay.
Past events. Okay, so
Usually I try and time it out where we're wearing the same thing.
that's always cute.
Yeah, I like to do that.
I love to match with my friends at big events, coworkers too. I'll match with anybody. It's interesting that you said you thought that Dana's wedding reception was one of the most fun you've ever been to.
And the wedding was so nice. The officiant was hilarious. She did a great job.
I absolutely love
It was
her.
a hell of a deal.
She was awesome.
The reason I'm glad you brought it up is at one point, so we got a chance to meet Dana's folks. I hadn't met them before, at least. I had a chance. Maybe you guys had met them before. I had never met Dana's parents. And I think we were kind of on our way out at this point, me and my damn wife. And here comes Dana's old man again, who we had talked to a few times during the reception. And I think it was my wife who said, you know what, it was a really nice ceremony, right? What does Dana's dad say? He says, well, it was different.
Yeah, he did.
I like that about the guy.
Oh, yeah, he was
that's
real
awesome.
honest. The first time we talked to him, remember, he's like, well, there's some family I haven't seen in a while. I guess I should probably go talk to them.
Yeah, everybody has that hurdle.
Yeah.
Everybody has to bite that bullet at events like weddings and funerals. You know, there's my friggin' family. I suppose I'm obligated to go say hello. You know, not that you're never terribly excited about it. Not with most of them. But I like the balls on the guy.
Yeah.
You know, here's his son. Dana was obviously having the time of his life. And his own dad says, it was different. I like that.
I didn't like the kissing. That grossed me out. I had to look at my feet a few times.
Well, Dana's dad and I didn't kiss for long.
Oh, well, I got a little jealous.
What are you talking about? When
Dana was kissing his
You don't like to see
his wife. No, I didn't
No.
like. I thought, get a room is what I thought.
Yeah.
And then I thought about what they were going to do in that room, and that made me even more grossed out.
Yeah, you got a dirty mind. All right, so here we go. Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver will be joining us a little bit later on this morning. We got lots to talk about. Ashley, I know you've got baby brain or whatever. Josh has baby fever, right?
She has pregnancy brain. Yeah, and I have
Pregnancy.
It's rough.
You got love on your brain, maybe, is the problem, because you'll be getting married in the near future. You know, we just left Dana's reception a couple nights ago. So I understand you're in a weird place, but please don't hand me disgusting articles like this one here. Hand these to Josh. I almost puked when I read what. Did you see what Ashley handed me this morning, Josh?
Which one?
It's titled "The Grossest and Most Adorable Couple Habits." Now that title is half right. This information is gross, but I found very little about it that's adorable in any way.
Some of them are pretty rough.
That's more gross than the one I handed you? About Jessica Simpson?
Oh, well, yes, because what you handed me about Jessica Simpson is one single act, physical act, where Ashley sent me an article with 10 or 12 disgusting physical acts. So,
And I guess, now that I think about it, you expect celebrities to do weird things.
I do. Well,
Ashley's is more just couples.
Let me get the Jessica Simpson thing out of the way because it's quick. She drinks snake sperm.
As is tradition, this is the way.
Okay.
My local coach told me to drink it, and they Googled the ingredients and snake sperm. No, it's like a honey.
That's
That's somebody committed to their craft.
It's like a honey? No.
She still sings for a living?
Apparently so, I guess.
I miss seeing her on television. There was a time where you couldn't escape her, and now I can't think of the last time I saw Jessica Simpson was whenever that terrible Dukes of Hazzard movie made it to cable. I don't know, was that 20 years ago, for Christ's sake?
Isn't she a decent singer? Is she?
Oh, I remember her to be a good...
I thought she was legit.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I couldn't tell you one of her songs, but I just remember when she was on television every day of the week in 1999, I would imagine. But anyway, She must still be singing Summers. I always thought she was just stunning. To preserve her voice, she says she drinks some kind of a Chinese herb cocktail, which was recommended by her vocal coach, is how you say it, her vocal coach. And it contains snake sperm. Again, to keep her voice in its purest form. At first, it says here, she did not know that she was drinking snake sperm, but a friend of hers looked this cocktail up on Google and found out the truth. But it didn't slow her down. She posted an Instagram video. That's the audio you had there a minute ago, Josh, where she's talking about it. And she says, if you want a good vocal, I don't know if that's the proper way to put that, but she's Jessica Simpson. She can come off however she likes. If you want a good vocal, you gotta drink snake sperm, she says.
Although I guess there was a time I dabbled in what I was told was bull semen from a particular energy drink. People were saying, oh, you know what's in that thing? And at the time, somebody told me taurine was bull semen, which turns out that's not the case.
So they were playing with you?
Well, they legitimately thought that was the case.
Oh, you drank some kind of energy drink.
And they're like, you know what's in there? Taurine. And I said, I don't even know what that is. And then they explained, oh, that's bull semen.
God help us all.
And I thought that was BS, is what they were telling me.
Right. She, nowadays, Jessica drinks this stuff straight from the bottle. So they bottle it somewhere. Somewhere's on planet Earth you can buy bottled snake sperm.
Apparently so.
So, yeah, that's a little off-putting.
This is better than Dana at Mario Kart. Jesus said, doesn't all sperm come from some kind of snake? I guess trouser or regular, sure.
Got a point. But Ashley had to dump this on me. Okay. The grossest but most adorable, I disagree with that part, couple habits. And we probably all know a couple or two who are they're just too comfortable. They're too comfortable. In my opinion, you still got to keep some of what every human does. Bodily functions and such. Sure, we all do it. You still got to keep that away. That still has to be a private thing.
For me, I mean, you know, people...
For Christ's sake.
Whatever makes you happy in your relationship, fine.
No, I go against that. Don't give me that whatever makes you happy in your relationship crap.
I keep my eye on my own bobber, as Ashley taught me once, that phrase. And so I...
Yeah, she's one to talk.
That's true.
She's got her eye on everybody's bobber.
She taught me that phrase, but yeah, she doesn't live by it. But I believe it's fine to have a little bit of mystery in your marriage.
Yes, leave some mystery.
That's how I like to do it.
I don't need to know how you take a dump.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, like even sometimes my wife, her, I don't know if I'd call it dirty talk, but kind of is too clinical. And I had to say, the other day, by the other day, I mean many years ago, you got to work on that a little bit. It kind of kills it.
Whose dirty talk was this?
Like my wife, sometimes it'll be too clinical, like, too scientific.
She says penis and vagina?
Something like that.
That's not the way you dirty talk. No. You use the words that you see in the magazines.
Yeah,
on the videos. You don't say vaginal area and... Anyway.
There's something I wish I could, I don't think I could say it without getting in trouble, but yeah, sometimes it's just such a mood killer. It's crazy.
So you had to tell her, you had to say, look, you're not teaching a health class. Throw a little vulgarity into this.
She can, but yeah, there's sometimes it kills everything.
She didn't get it at first. That's fine. You got to start somewhere. All right. Here are these gross, but some would say adorable couple habits. This stuff, it turns my stomach. Starting with pimple popping sessions, absolutely out of the question, no.
My wife used to assault me with that, where she'd sneak up and just go for it. I requested that she stops.
No, why?
Some people love it. Ashley, aren't you someone that loves it?
Yeah.
Yes, you love doing it or receiving or
Doing it. No, I don't want somebody to do it to me.
God.
I'm
Just
self-conscious
horrible.
about anything like that. So, no, stay away from me.
It's terrible and it's wrong.
Going back real quick to the bull semen.
Yeah.
Jenna Tulls Jesus said, "Wait, you guys are getting energy drinks in your cans of bull semen? No, you got it the opposite way, man. It's the complete opposite way."
You thought there was bull semen in your energy drink.
Yeah, no, it's opposite.
Using each other's deodorant. Okay, it's not gross. I suppose it is sort of gross, armpit juice getting on each other. I don't know.
I did that this morning.
That one doesn't really,
That's not as bad.
that could have been left off this article because so much of the rest of it is terrible.
I always wanted to try Secret back in the day. Remember the commercials? Strong enough for a man, but made for a woman? That kind of thing?
That's what Dana uses. That's why I call him bitch pits in my phone.
Oh.
We had a listener text in and call him that.
I forgot. He said he uses women's deodorant because it's, don't tell me, less abrasive on his skin or something like that?
Yep.
More? Okay. That could have been left out of this. It doesn't belong with the others. Because some of these other gross habits that couples have that some would call adorable, doing sniff tests on your partner, sniffing their pits and whatnot to see if they're, yuck.
I feel
yeah,
kinda
I've
weird
definitely
with that.
done that. Like, hey, do I smell weird?
And then you ask your significant other to smell under your arm?
Yeah.
Are you cool with an answer that is unflattering?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, why can't
I want
you
to know the truth.
What's your face busy doing? You can't put your own face into your armpit.
Because I might not be able to, because I've been around it, I might not be able to.
You're nose
smell it.
blind.
Yeah.
That's what they call that.
Burping and farting competitions.
That's a big no.
Competition.
That's a huge
competitions, yeah.
So far, boys, I'm 0-100 against the wife.
I can't.
Ooh, she's a real champ.
I can't seem to get a win against the wife. I used to dominate you boys back in our college days, but ever since I married this gal, I can't win one farting competition.
Oh.
The bathroom door's always open. Oh, we're totally comfortable with each other. We leave the bathroom door open.
I never shut the door. Not
Gross.
that often when I pee.
I close it no matter what's going on in there.
It's actually, we have fun with that because, yesterday, he was downstairs doing laundry and he came upstairs to put it away, and he walks past the bathroom and I don't even have the light on and I'm just in there peeing and he goes, oh, look at that. So he likes it, I think.
Well, eating off of each other's fingers.
Yeah, I don't really like
she's
doing
got a little
that.
cake on her finger and boom, I'm going to have some of that. Gross. Wiping each other's noses. You're not my child. You're my significant other. I'm not wiping your nose.
Yeah, unless I'm on my deathbed, then yeah,
Right.
go ahead.
Right. If you're unable to move, then maybe I'll wipe your damn nose.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever get that comfortable with any individual.
No. Here are the rest that aren't so brutally offensive and disgusting. Someone eating off your plate. Well, maybe not someone. We're specifically talking about your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife kind of a thing.
That's
Eating.
not gross.
You bit into the sandwich. You don't want the rest of it. She finishes it. I've done that before, but I
wouldn't.
I've been pretty hungry. I'll tell you that. I've been pretty hungry.
I wouldn't use her utensils. I don't think.
Oh yeah,
that would kind of
that's-
gross me out.
That's not right. That's not mentioned in here, but that's all. That should be in here instead of the deodorant thing. Yeah, using someone else's fork.
That's so funny. I don't even think about that when I do it.
Yeah. Stealing their socks or wearing their socks. I don't get why that's in here.
Well, because it's even if they're dirty, so you would
it
take
says
their
here, yeah.
socks off of their feet. This one really grosses me
Oh,
out.
I didn't catch that. Yeah, I'm not putting on your dirty socks.
No,
Well,
Who does that?
that is
what's-
so gross.
I'm trying to think of a situation where I would need to have that happen.
Well, actually, this came up at Dana's wedding. I was wearing heels, And I hate being the person that takes their heels off to dance, but my gosh, my feet killed. And so I did, and my fiance offered me his socks. And I was like, no.
Oh, he did. I'm sorry, I missed that the first time around. Yeah, and Josh, good question. Give me a situation where I'm going to need to remove my wife's socks and put them on my feet. Maybe if we just lived through a plane crash or something and we're stranded inside the fuselage or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard anybody say, I got these emergency socks just in case.
Face licking and weird kisses are also mentioned in this article about the grossest but most adorable couple habits. Face licking and weird kisses.
Like Spider-Man kisses, butterfly kisses.
Oh, I don't know. What's
a
Spider-Man kiss?
Upside down kiss.
Oh, that cut from the movie?
Yep.
Okay.
Butterfly kisses? What's that?
With your eyelashes.
Oh, I've never done that.
Have you seen that? I've seen that before.
No, that sounds like something you'd do if you were a fourth grader.
Well, I was going to mention, I've seen it, a mom do that to her little kid just to be funny.
If there's face licking and weird kisses going on, we're having sex at that time. Okay? Baby talk and weird voices that you use with each other. I don't know that. I don't play that game.
You haven't done that.
Cleaning up, wiping the food off each other's faces.
Don't do
you've
that.
got a little whipped cream there on the side. Let me take care. Again, that's something that your mother does when you're a child. You don't do that to other grown people.
Yeah, usually that's after I've told him 3 times. No, it's right there. It's right there. I'll just get it. Gosh.
With your bare hand?
Yeah, I don't care.
Ah. What if you get some of their saliva on your hand? Ooh, saliva.
Oh, yeah. My wife will wipe dog boogers off the dogs with just her bare hand.
Oh, yeah, same here.
And then 10 minutes later, she'll be touching your face.
Yeah, now I'll put on gloves, a whole hazmat suit. Got to get a couple of Kleenexes to take those out. I can't just touch them like that.
Couples should keep their hands to themselves.
I usually just wipe their eye boogers into their fur. So then I don't see where it ends up.
Stop it with the eye boogers.
That's kind of what my wife does.
Yeah. But if it stays on my hand, I start to freak out. It grosses me out.
Monday morning, dengue fever's running wild. What a hell of a deal. All right, I suppose we better take a break. Like I said, Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver will be swinging by around 7:30. We'll talk about every damn thing that, like I said before, Josh, this is a brutal time of year when you want to talk sports because everything's going on all at once. I was laughing my balls off watching the Wolves last night. We'll tell you why that was so funny. Again, so Brad Ryder, Randy Shaver, everything. Best of luck to Dana if somehow he's listening to this right now, waiting for his airplane ride to Mexico. Steer clear of that dengue fever and the malaria. Ashley says it's all over the place. We appreciate you listening. We'll be back in a few minutes here on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Expert entrepreneur Ed Milet is on a mission to max out your life.
So many of you have dreams in your life and you don't go touch them. You've got to begin to touch your dreams.
It's time to get laser focused on peak performance.
I'm going to give you very unique habits that I do on a daily basis. Say no more. Have deadlines in your life. Go to work.
And become the best version of you.
Take a day and serve that mission.
The Ed Milet Show.
Max out.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right. Our first stupid news report for the week. And this is a valuable lesson to learn right here from the get-go. Just in case you haven't already learned this lesson, it's a valuable one. The people who control the feces control the world. Say it, Ashley.
The people that control the feces control the world.
Control the world. Don't ever argue with the people who control the feces. In a place called Evansville, Indiana, owners of a restaurant say their plumber clogged their pipes on purpose because of a dispute over a bill. The joint, the restaurant, is called Thai Bistro and Bar. Their manager, a feller by the name of Jesse Sanders, says when their kitchen's grease trap started to overflow, they called a plumber to fix the clog. And he did. 3 days later, when the clog happened again, they say they called the plumber back. After the second visit, Sanders says they received a bill from the plumber for nearly double what they already paid him for the first visit. The plumber told them, "That's because I was working overtime on that second job, tough guy." The first bill was $235. The second was $390. The restaurant refused to pay the second bill. They thought they were getting effed. They refused to pay a player. So, the plumber came back again, this time uninvited. And he put a balloon in their grease trap to block it up, and he told the restaurant he's not going to remove it until he gets his damn monies.
That can't be safe.
I wish I had that skill set. Just to come into somebody's house. Well, I mean, just not that type of revenge. The skill set to come into somebody's business or home and just sabotage the whole works through plumbing. That would be fun to have that skill set. So according to the restaurant, the plumber also pulled this gimmick on them after he put the balloon in their grease trap. He texted them and said, "You got 1 hour to pay me because I'm leaving out of town for the weekend. More or less, if you pay me what you owe me within the hour, I can come over. Other than that, I'm out of here." So that Sanders fella, the owner of the restaurant, said, they were kind of screwed. This is his direct quote, "If we were to leave the balloon in there, the grease trap would overflow. The restaurant would be filled with dirty water. We would have had to shut the joint down." And so they were kind of screwed. The plumber also said this restaurant has a history of being slow to make payments in the past. A quote from the plumber, he said, "I don't have a magic wand I can wave and remove all the garbage and crap from the drain line. Dang," he said.
Sewer Repair Jesus said that, Nick, for your skill set, dump concrete down the drain, seen it 1,000,000 times with home sales, he claims.
I want to do something less Neanderthal than that. You know what I mean? Sure, anyone can dump cement down the drain.
You want more sophisticated?
Yeah, like this guy, with the balloon. That sounds so much more diabolical. So anyway, because of this piss and match back and forth between the restaurant and the plumber, local cops had to go to the restaurant and watch them pay the plumber what he was owed, and they had to watch the plumber remove the balloon from the drain, and everybody shakes hands and moves on with their stupid lives.
This texter says, as a commercial HVAC and plumbing company, this is why we don't work with restaurants. Really, is that common? Like they're slow to pay or argue every penny? I mean, I got to be honest, like $300 or $200, that seems, I would have assumed that cleaning out a drain clog would cost a lot more than that.
I would be more than happy to hand hand him $300 for that.
I mean, especially if your business depends on it.
Right. Like the restaurant owner said, we probably would have had to shut the joint down if this problem wasn't fixed. Isn't that friggin' embarrassing? Embarrassing for the cop, too. You kidding me? I got to stand in this restaurant and watch you two exchange the money and watch the friggin' drain get fixed because you can't work this out on your own, for Christ's sake. I'm not a babysitter.
All right, so the person who's in HVAC and plumbing got back to us and said for restaurants, they're cheap.
They don't like to pay out any money.
Yeah, I guess in his experience.
Okay.
Or her, sorry. I don't know for sure.
So the restaurant still says, even after this was all supposedly squashed, the restaurant still says they handed over the money. How should I say this? They say the bill they handed over was ultimately, quote, paid under protest.
Wow.
Sir, I will pay you,
yes,
but under supreme protest.
The people that control the feces control the world.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with the plumber. And people are texting and saying the same thing. There's a lot of trade, probably no trades you want to mess with.
Oh, dude.
A friend of mine worked for a landscaping crew. This was when we were in college, and his boss, it was a small landscaper. They had maybe 4 employees, and it was just dudes that kind of college kids that would come work in the summer, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so he was saying there was a homeowner in a very wealthy area who refused to pay for whatever reason. I don't know all the details, but he refused to pay. So his job, along with one of the other guys, was to go back and take all the plantings out of the guy's house.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they pay for that stuff,
Remove
right?
all the work.
All the plants. There was trees. They didn't rip up sod, but outside of that, you know, they took all the plantings back.
Not going to pay? We're going to take our stuff back.
Better than Dana at Mario Kart, Jesus says that's how he pays all his bills, under protest.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
Mm-hmm. I would never mess with a plumber. They've saved my ass so many times. Did I mention this on air, the cool plumbing tool that I used at the house recently? Was this did I mention that on air?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Where you pull it, you kind of pump this, we had a clogged toilet, and you kind of buy this apparatus, in case you didn't hear it the first time, and you kind of pump it up like you're pumping up your bicycle tire as a child, and then you stick the unit into the toilet as far down as you can push it, and you pull a trigger, and it releases all that air that you pumped up. And now plumbers, go ahead and text me if I've done something terrible, because we used that tool to unclog a toilet. It worked beautiful.
I just saw one of those yesterday, and that's how I remembered that you talked about it. I was looking for something to put under our plunger, because right now it's sitting on toilet paper. That's about it. So I thought, I just got to get something to put it on. And I saw one of those. And it looks pretty high tech. But you said it worked incredibly well, right?
Oh, it worked beautiful, and I was excited about it. Let me know, plumbers, if I've just sabotaged the pipelines from here to Rochester by using that tool, because I wouldn't know any better.
This person says, I work underground utilities, and I can definitely disconnect your Wi-Fi without you even knowing it if you piss me off.
All right. Here's a question from a listener. Why don't those restaurant guys just learn how to clean out the grease from a pipe instead of paying for it? Good question. I'm guessing if you're working a busy restaurant, maybe you just don't have the time to deal with such a thing. That's just a guess. They just don't have the time. So they have someone else come in and do it. This has got to be the dumbest damn cop I've heard of so far today. No surprise, he's English. Listen how this numbnuts nearly lost his job as a policeman officer. He's got a very English name, Stewart. He's a cop over there somewheres. He went to an address to arrest somebody. Are you following it so far, Josh?
Yeah, I can handle that.
He went to an address to arrest somebody, but they weren't home. Okay. So while the cop was wandering around the property, he stole a damn decorative Halloween spider from the backyard. He was recorded on doorbell camera and reported to the police.
It's bizarre how many stories you hear of decorations getting stolen from people's yards. With name a holiday or just in general, people are taking that kind of thing.
They are very expensive now.
Yeah, some can be.
This was a little decorative Halloween spider about the size of, I don't know, a baseball maybe.
Oh, that's it.
What are you doing? By the way, I just got a text from somebody who said, I exploded all the pipes under my sink using one of those tools you just described.
Oh, no.
Oh, great.
Well, yeah, I thought about getting one. Maybe I don't. I mean, it's been a while since. Like, we've got toilets that don't really clog very often. I don't know if we've ever clogged the ones that are.
I'll tell you, Josh, I was hesitant to pull that trigger when we
How'd you even know about it?
The wife looked it up on the godless, soulless, and often wildly inaccurate internet.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was on Home Depot's website yesterday, and that's why I saw it.
When I pulled that trigger, I thought, uh-oh. But, okay.
Is there a risk of things flying back at you?
No, because you kind of jam it down into the toilet.
Oh, okay.
A ways. Okay. Here's this cop again. He goes to arrest somebody. They're not home, so he's wandering around the property like a derelict. He steals a stupid little Halloween decoration. It was a spider from the backyard. He gets caught. So next thing you know, Stewart, the 47-year-old cop, had to show up in court for stealing a Halloween decoration out somebody's yard like he's an effing frat boy or something.
How embarrassing.
I don't think I would have, if that was me and it was my spider, I don't think I would have even called anybody. I'd have been like, all right, well, there goes my spider, I guess.
Well,
even if it was a cop, wouldn't you be concerned? Like, yeah, I bet even, his partners are like, we don't need this type of guy running around stealing stuff.
I don't know. That's just so weird. It makes no sense to me that I think I would let it go.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I probably would too, now that I think about it.
Sounds like a lot of work for nothing.
But I'd like to trust that the cop's not going to steal from me.
Right.
Maybe this spider meant a lot to them.
I'd expect it from someone that works in this building. Things get stolen constantly around here.
In the end, this cop was given a written warning. How effing embarrassing. $5 Halloween decoration. Which, by the way, shouldn't be in anyone's yard this time of year in the first place.
That's what I was thinking.
That's obnoxious. Why do you still have Halloween decorations in your yard? It's friggin' March. What did I say now? The decoration was returned to its owner. Come on, dude.
I guess I can't really say much about them still having decorations. Our Christmas lights are still up at our house.
No, that's stupid.
Well, it happened in December, but the court case is going on now. So, but even so, you're right. You've already moved on 2 holidays.
Why? You can't take them down now because we don't want you falling off a ladder. Well,
exactly.
Get your friggin' fiance. You still got Christmas lights up? That pisses me off.
He gets lucky every single time I bring it up, and I'm like, hey, you should take those down this weekend. It ends up snowing, and I'm like, gosh darn it, come on.
It's been 70, 80 degrees already. He can't get out there and take the damn...
Box Tossing Jesus brings up a great point. He said, if that cop was there to arrest me, we're going down together. I forgot about that aspect of the story.
Yep. Maybe that's why they made the phone call. Hey, look, I know you're looking for me, but I just want you to know that your cop is shady, too. Maybe the guy thought it would help get him off the hook.
Yeah, that changes things. You're right. I completely forgot that aspect of it.
Do you get aggravated this time of year, Josh, driving around the neighborhood and you still see Christmas trees and whatnot up? I get aggravated.
Do you really? No.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 houses that they still have their Christmas lights going.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, there's a couple places or a couple houses in my neighborhood that still have those inflatables in their lawn.
Christmas inflatables.
Yeah, just like dead laying there. And I'm like, what?
Get off your ass. All right, we're still in England here. And things get even dumber. 2 drunks walking around town came across a Paddington Bear statue in a park or something like that. I'm sorry to say that they beat and kicked the living hell out of Paddington Bear. I mean, like The Undertaker did to mankind at Hell in a Cell. They broke him in half. and then they took him away. And speaking of going to court for stupid reasons, these young dudes ended up in court for this. The judge,
that's embarrassing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The judge chastised the both of them, both military guys, for being the antithesis of everything Paddington Bear's character stands for.
I'm glad Dana wasn't here to hear the story because he loves Paddington. I've never met a bigger Paddington fan in my life.
He is the cutest bear ever. Absolutely adorable.
That's what they did. I wouldn't know Paddington Bear if I was banging him. I still haven't seen word one from this character. By the way, did you see the latest Dark Side of the Ring where they cover Hell in a Cell with Foley and Undertaker?
Not yet.
No.
Very well done. Okay, so the judge lit these guys up, for killing Paddington Bear. They said, this is the direct words from the judge. He's really tuned into this. He said, Paddington Bear is a beloved cultural icon for children and adults alike. He represents kindness, tolerance, and promotes integration and acceptance in our society. Your actions were, like I said before, the antithesis of everything that he stands for.
I believe Paddington 2 is often described as one of the most perfect of movies. It always has a rating higher than most.
Paddington Part 2.
Yeah, it's strange how... Well, I shouldn't say it's strange, but folks that are into it are really into it.
They love the bastard over there in England, apparently. I saw the statue. The character is gazing skyward. He was sitting on a park bench, I think, is where they had the statue.
Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
He's looking up at the sky. He's got a sandwich in his hand. The judge also noted that there's a sign by this Paddington statue that says, please look after this bear. But they didn't look after it. They gave him the beating of his life.
That sounds so adorable.
A person here much prefers Cocaine Bear. That's their favorite bear.
Never saw it.
I haven't seen it either.
It's pretty bad.
Now, later, it's not a good movie?
Pretty bad, you say.
Well, that's shocking.
The bear part's cute, I guess.
Absolutely shocking that they found dead. They found the dead Paddington Bear statue in the trunk of one of these drunk dudes' cars.
Oh.
They were handled pretty harshly by this judge, partially because they're military. And the judge said, you should be upholding yourself to a higher standard. For the punishment, they're going to have to pay a fine and stab trash on the shoulder of the highway with the teenage underage drinkers. The statue is currently being repaired. They're trying to bring it back to life and put it back where it came from.
How do you guys feel about marmalade? It's been a while since I've had marmalade because that's Paddington's favorite. He
Love marmalade.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if I've ever had it in my life.
You haven't?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you'd know. It's different enough. Yeah. My mom every once in a while would get marmalade.
You put it on bread?
Toast. Or something, yeah.
Is it anything like apricot?
It's different. But I mean, similar, but different.
All right. Yeah.
Paddington Bear's Twitter account is one of my favorite accounts that I follow. It's so wholesome and sweet.
Yeah, have you seen it? Social media can be kind of evil, you may have noticed. And have you seen some people just are awful to Paddington?
Really? Oh, I don't see that, thankfully.
There are some people in our listening audience who say if you've ever heard Paddington Bear speak, then you would know that he deserved this beating.
Oh.
They call him a pompous ass.
Rude.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the guy.
His last tweet is, tonight I hope to dream about the adventures ahead and all the friends I will make along the way. So be nice to him. He is a gem.
He is a positive force.
He sounds a little phony to me.
In an angry world.
Who the hell talks that way? By God, we love a creative obituary around here. We do. Down there in the miserable alligator state, a feller by the name of Arthur Bates. Well, he went ahead, he checked out. And in his obituary from the local newspapers, it mentioned that he led a life filled with Marlboros, fast women, and Ford Broncos. That does sound like the life. No mention of beer, though. I'm cool living a life with Marlboros, fast women, and Ford Broncos, but I would need some beer in there personally. But it sounds like Arthur wasn't a beer drinker. It sounds like Arthur preferred drugs. His obituary stated that he succumbed to his, quote, life of drugs and other life choices. It goes on to say that he is survived by 3 daughters, none of whom know what they will do without their dad calling and asking to borrow $20 for cigarettes and methadone. On legacy.com, which, if you're not familiar, is a website where you can throw an obituary and a memorial or whatever up there, folks made comments about the passing of Mr. Arthur, what the hell was his last name? Bates? Did I get that? Where am I? Mm-hmm. Arthur Bates. Folks left comments. They said he lived how do I say this? A life well lived. One other person said a good person passed away. Some other character wrote, hey, he still owes me $20. I dig that when people get cute.
Me too.
I do too. Especially the ones that you can tell the family loves and hates them at the same time. You know, sometimes they'll write just awful, awful things, but you can tell there's some love behind it.
Right. I get it. I know what you mean. All right. Before we make our way out of here, beard transplants. Anyone here ever heard of a beard transplant?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Really?
Hey guys, listen to this. I read that a growing number of men are now getting beard transplants. I mean, best case scenario, it's back hair, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it. I just know that it does exist.
Okay, this is the first I've heard of it. Now, this article in front of me on beard transplants is the longest, most miserable article ever written since the dawn of time. So I'll just try and give you the highlights, because I need to try and figure this out. Beard transplants. So they're not effing with me?
No, they're not. I know someone who has, I think jokingly, but mentioned they've considered it. They're nearly 50 and can't grow a beard to save their life.
Oh, just patchy and
I got
that
one word for them. Lucky.
I feel that way too. I mean, the grass is always greener. But yeah, I'm with you. That's what I said. You don't have to worry about it. And he has a job where he's not really supposed to have a beard anyways.
He's not supposed to have a beard on the job. Shaving sucks. I haven't even shaved. I can't remember the last time I shaved with a razor. Just because I could not do it anymore. I was so tired of it. And, you bleed a little bit and all that. And I know people always whenever we have this conversation, people text in, well, you got a garbage razor. You're probably right. I'm not going to go out and spend any real money on a friggin' razor. I always use just the disposable. I just hated it after a while. Now I just use the trimmer, that gimmick. And that's fine and everything. But to live a life where I never had or would have to shave would just be beautiful.
Beards are so hot, though.
I can live without a beard, facial hair at all. I don't care who finds it hot.
I've mentioned many times my wife hates my face. So if I don't have any growth on it, she can't stand looking at me. She wants me to cover it.
I would be absolutely devastated if my fiancé walked through the door and he had no facial hair anymore.
So you're getting ready to marry and bear a child with a beard. It's all about the beard? If he had no beard, you wouldn't be with him?
I would accept it, but it would hurt a little. It would be like if I asked him the other day, should I go brunette or dye my hair like black or something? And he just kind of gave me a look, and I knew from that look that the answer was please no.
Well, ask him. I'm sure he would probably prefer a life without facial hair. My bro Curtis, luckiest sumbitch to ever live. He's 53 years old. He says hairless today is the day he was born.
How does he feel about it?
Well, the only time I've ever heard him complain is when we used to play beer league hockey. We'd sometimes before out-of-town tournaments, we'd all grow big, disgusting beards, and he would always feel a little left out. That's the only time he ever voices Lucky bastard. Not a hair on him. Okay, beard transplants. This article discusses the sudden, surprising rise of beard transplants. They call the industry the Wild, Wild West. Demand for facial hair surgery is soaring, and here's where the Wild, Wild West comes into play, despite it being an unregulated industry. They tell a story about a dude called Vikram is the name, Josh. Vikram. He's 47. He says he's struggled with patchy facial hair since he was a kid. When beards became, I missed this, but it says here, when beards became trendy in the early 2000s with celebrities like Jason Statham and David Beckham, Vikram felt inadequate. He didn't think he looked mature enough. He didn't feel masculine enough. I feel bad for the guy that he needs a beard on his face in order to have some confidence. The pandemic lockdowns made for a surge in beard interest, according to the article. So this Vikram, whatever I called him, he researched transplants. He called some joint in London. They tore hair follicles from the back of his head and implanted them into his face. It costs a few grand. And now, apparently, even though it's unregulated, one clinic is performing up to 100 beard transplants a year.
It looks legit enough. I mean, looking at it, something seems a little off, but I bet if I had no idea what this was, I wouldn't notice.
So they look legit?
Yeah. I mean, it's super full. It's almost like too full. Maybe that's why. It almost looks too perfect.
If it's coming from the back of your dome, that hair grows a little differently than what we normally grow on our mugs.
Yeah, the shorter it is, the more obvious I think it is.
There are risks and awful stories. Awful stories. One dude traveled to Turkey for a beard transplant. Oh, and it went sideways. I don't even want to tell you the end of the story. I don't.
Did he lose his jaw or something?
No, he didn't lose his jaw. That would be... He ended up killing himself.
Oh.
It turned out awful, and he just...
It effed his face up.
That's terrible.
So who's ready?
I mean, my wife could use a little fill-in. It comes in pretty decent, but there's some spots that are a little bare.
What comes to mind for me, the question that comes to mind for me, is there anyone left who's happy with their appearance anymore? Anybody?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'll give any man, if I had the power, any man who feels inadequate, who feels less of a man because they can't grow a beard, if I had the power, I'd give you mine. You can keep it for the rest of your friggin' life.
I bet they have gotten a lot of hell, though. I bet they have gotten some. I mean, I can tell you my buddy gets crap.
Because he can't grow a beard?
Because he can't grow a beard.
Yeah, I've seen other dudes get crap for that.
Huh, we've never played that game. Like I said, I've always been envious of Curtis. And I think I can speak for the rest of our friend group. Usually he gets complimented or whatever the word might be.
Well, he's gorgeous.
We usually say, lucky you. Lucky you.
This person here says, if I got rid of my beard, how would I hide my chins? He's got chins to hide.
Men have beards and women have makeup.
Yeah, some have a couple, 3 chins. I know what you mean. Hey, there you go. Check it out, but be careful. Beard implants are the latest. I like that part. With the rise of beard popularity due to Jason Statham and David Beckham, are there people who really follow that? Well, got to grow a beard now. The top guy in Hollywood and the top soccer player have a beard. Now I got to grow a beard. It's out there for the taking.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Contreras is chewing on the tape. Yeah, why use a pocket when you could just eat it, you know? Kind of like kids in glue.
Not the greatest start to the season for the Twins, huh?
No.
Could have been better.
Not the greatest start to the... They got their asses swept. They lose 9-2 yesterday. It's 0-3 kind of a thing for the Twins, and they play tonight in Chicago. You heard the audio there. First baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, Wilson Contreras, kind of weirded folks out during Saturday's game with the Twins when he ate some batting tape right off of his baseball bat on live television.
He went for it, too.
He steps up to the plate. He's got like some loose tape hanging off the barrel of his bat. Well, it was a 3-2 count, actually. So, he's got to be wary of getting his ass back in the batter's box, right, with the new counting system, whatever they call it. So he's like, I can't be messing around with this batting tape. I got to get my ass back in the batter's box. So he tears the tape off. He throws it in his yap, and he chewed on it.
Looked like he was struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is a bit of a struggle. I don't know if he swallowed it, but the next pitch he was out swinging, and I don't know if he gutted it or not. But
that video is on 93x.com if you want to check it out.
I've never seen a man eat tape
I haven't either.
Before. The Wolves game was a lot of laughs last night. Can't wait to tell you about it. The Pigs play at New Jersey tonight. The NCAA basketball Final Four is ready to roll. We'll tell you who made that pig when Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder join us in a half hour. Don't go anywhere as Josh's news report is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
Michael Rosenbaum and his Smallville co-stars take you behind the scenes of one of the greatest shows of all time.
Talkville.
I just had a flashback.
Tom Welling's here.
We're going to do a podcast
throughout the year. We've got a lot of season ahead of us.
It's big talk.
This is good fan stuff.
Yeah, there was some good stuff.
If you're watching the show, this is good stuff.
Yeah. On Smallville.
Yeah.
They made it like this is the first time they've seen the guy ball.
That's hard.
I thought it was pretty dark.
It's Talkville.
We're pumped.
The Smallville Rewatch Podcast.
You got to be a part of it.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
I want to be wined and dined at 69.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a lot of black smoke. It was just everywhere.
There are no survivors from the aircraft which struck the home.
A small plane came crashing through the roof of a Brooklyn Park home on Saturday, sadly killing the pilot and sparking a massive fire. But luckily, everyone on the ground made it out okay. The crash occurred just after noon, tearing through the house on impact. Flames quickly followed, engulfing the structure and leaving it completely destroyed. One of the homeowners was inside when the plane hit, but somehow managed to escape. The other wasn't home at the time.
Grateful there were no casualties within the actual residence itself. Heart goes out to families and folks that were in the
Moments
plane.
Before the crash, audio from Anoka Air Traffic Control captured 2 urgent warnings to the pilot that the plane was flying dangerously low, ultimately going down just 8 miles from its destination. That cause is still unknown. Investigators are piecing together what went wrong, examining everything from the weather to the pilot's background to the aircraft's maintenance history. Crews spent yesterday combing through the wreckage and beginning the cleanup. The pilot who died in the crash is believed to be a 63-year-old executive with U.S. Bank. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading that investigation, and a preliminary report is expected in the next 2 weeks. That crash came just 1 day after an unrelated aviation incident involving a Minneapolis-bound Delta flight's near miss with an Air Force jet while leaving Reagan International outside Washington, D.C.
Actual aircraft about 500 feet below us. Came off of DCA.
What did he say?
I wrote down for my out cue, unintelligible. Friday's close call.
Was that part of the problem? That no one could understand what that guy was saying?
It could be, yeah. Friday's close call near Reagan came only 2 months after that deadly midair collision between a commercial plane and a military helicopter in the same airspace, which sadly left 67 dead. And less serious, but still dangerous, a kite struck a United Airlines passenger jet as it approached Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport on Saturday.
A kite? Do you recall any of the details about the kite, whether it was over the park, how high was it?
It was over the park, about 100 feet over the ground. It looked like it's right on the flight level.
Airport
Should
police.
that create a problem when a kite hits an airplane?
Well, it was just a risk, they said.
Oh.
Could have caused a problem.
I would think that my airplane can handle running into a kite.
Maybe it was a big kite. Airport police confiscated the kite from a family at a nearby park where it was flying that is banned due to nearby low-flying aircraft.
And that plane came in contact with the kite as it was descending into land. We saw the kite kind of come down and sort of get tangled, if you will, at the wing area.
No charges were filed, but warnings were issued. The flight landed safely with no damage. And for our final aviation issue of the day, a Florida man was arrested Thursday after deputies said he repeatedly aimed a laser at their helicopter.
Oh, stop doing that.
Back to that crash in Brooklyn Park. I mean, I wonder what that's like to have an airplane fall from the sky. I wonder what it feels like and sounds like to have an airplane fall from the sky and knock into your house.
I'm sure it just shakes the ground for blocks.
I'll be damned.
And I can't imagine how loud that was. Thankfully, I mean, very sad. The one gentleman passed away, but thankfully no one on the ground was hurt. Obviously, that could have been way worse. The popular Nerf Wars game is gearing up once again. And Cottage Grove police are reminding participants to play smart and stay safe. We're all for safe and responsible fun, but they caution that they've already received multiple 911 calls about behavior during Nerf Wars just this month, and they said it puts people at risk. Across Minnesota, similar games have led to serious problems, mistaken gun sightings, property damage, and tragically, even loss of life.
I'm worried. I worry about them during the overnight period when I'm not at school. I worry about them on the weekend making good decisions. You know, we've tried to talk to them. We've met with their Nerf War admin.
We support kids having fun, but it's got to be safe, in the right place, and at the right time, public safety said. According to reports, players were seen firing Nerf guns from moving cars, aiming them at unsuspecting bystanders, trespassing on private property, and blocking roads mid-game.
These are high school kids running around shooting?
Usually, yeah.
And was that a dad, I'm assuming, on the mic there?
No, that was a gentleman from public safety.
He talked to their Nerf War admin?
Oh my gosh,
they had an admin.
That is crazy.
So it's like an organized league?
Apparently so.
How about that? Have you been caught up in the Nerf Wars, Josh?
No, but if we ever are, I'm overqualified. We have an arsenal.
Do you?
Yeah, you know, what I have is a book on a bookshelf. It's a secret trigger to open up the whole section of my house.
Sure.
Dedicated to Nerf weaponry.
What were you saying about your damn fiance?
He went to Osseo High School, and they did that when they were seniors.
He looks like he went to Osseo High School.
He said it was pretty
Looks
intense.
like he didn't graduate, though.
Yeah.
By the looks of it. A 37-year-old man is headed to prison for more than 2 years after getting completely outclassed by a third grader during a failed liquor store robbery in Maplewood. You may remember this story. Happened August 10th. The would-be robber strolled into Big Discount Liquors wearing an Amazon delivery uniform, tried to play cool, until he reached into his pocket and pulled out what was later determined to be a BB gun, and then placed it on the counter like he meant business. He told the store manager to hand over everything. The manager tried to reason with him, saying he could take the money, but his concern was for the safety of his 8-year-old daughter, who was in the store at the time, which was actually really bad news for the guy. As the robber stepped behind the counter, a struggle broke out between him and the manager, and while they wrestled, the little girl grabbed a baseball bat and humbled the robber, hitting him multiple times until he ran off.
In the security video, you can see the store owner and his daughter jumping into action to stop him. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt.
The bumbling bad guy didn't get far, and now he's got a couple years behind bars to think about how he got his ass beat by a kid in grade school.
Nice, she beat his ass.
Yeah, she took care of business. While parents in the Midwest are busy little heroes, things down south are a little different. In the Sunshine State, Florida man doesn't wait until adulthood. It starts young, sometimes even in middle school. Florida boy, just 11 years old, is already making headlines in Gainesville for trying and failing to carjack multiple people at gunpoint. Deputies responded to a call Tuesday from someone who said a kid pulled a gun and demanded their keys. That attempt failed, and the 11-year-old ran off. But he wasn't done yet. About an hour later, another report came in. Same story, same MO, same kid. Deputies tracked him down, and a search of his room revealed his carjacking weapon, a small replica handgun, which turned out to be a novelty lighter. Still, Florida boy was charged with armed carjacking with a firearm and 2 counts of armed robbery with a firearm.
I bet his grades are going to suffer now, Josh.
Yeah, sure he was top of the class before that. A Tennessee tow truck driver is on the mend after a violent morning encounter where someone ran over his head, nearly squishing his brain from his skull. What? Oozing like some grotesque, moist, and pulpy gray toothpaste forcefully spewed from a shattered cranial tube.
God, no.
What? The incident unfolded just before 8 a.m. Wednesday at an apartment complex in North Memphis, where the tow truck driver was in the middle of hooking up a red 2011 Ford Focus to repossess it. Video shows the victim, who goes by the name Phil Pac-Man Guy, lying partially under the car, hooking it up to his tow truck, and then the suspect suddenly bolting toward the Focus, jumping inside, and driving straight over the victim's head and arm. Without hesitation or remorse, the suspect continued maneuvering the vehicle out of the parking spot and drives off, never stopping to check on the man he had just run over.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Later, the tow truck driver shared photos of his injuries, revealing what happens to a face when it's run over by a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder compact sedan. A woman at the complex told police she sold the Focus to the suspect, but after he stopped making payments, she called in a tow truck to take it back.
I don't want to victim blame here, but why would he get under there when the guy was clearly getting into his car?
Yeah, quite a few people said the same thing.
He saw the guy coming?
I don't know how much he was paying attention to that. He must have known because he's racing to get this thing hooked up.
Oh.
But yeah, he got underneath there. And
boy, he was screaming all right.
Yeah.
God damn.
It went on for way longer than that.
Oh, no.
You can see this video on 93x.com. Incredible he survived and wasn't injured worse. Some people were joking, too, like, how broke you got to be to not be able to afford the payments on a 2011 Ford Focus?
That's a really good point.
On this day, 93 years ago, in 1932, Ford unveiled its new V8 engine.
93 years ago.
Travelers at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport were treated to a woman who stripped down to her naughty parts before biting, stabbing, and screaming her way into viral infamy while claiming to be a goddess, as well as 2 Disney princesses. 34-year-old Samantha Palma stabbed 2 people with a pencil and then bit a restaurant manager, all while completely nude. Calling herself the goddess Venus, she attacked a restaurant manager with his own pencil, stabbing him in the head and face before sinking her teeth into his forearm as he tried to restrain her. Footage from the incident, now circulating widely online, shows her in a full meltdown, smashing a television, flinging water into the air, dancing provocatively, and shouting obscenities at bewildered travelers, many of whom recording with their own cell phones.
Go away, stop. Yeah, you got action, people. Y'all just gonna let her do that?
At one point, a kind stranger tried to offer her a coat, but the naked lady responded by shrieking, sprinting away, and shouting, "F you," to anyone within earshot, before destroying another TV. Police later found her covered in blood, not her own, and hiding behind an emergency door. After being taken into custody, she reportedly told officers she identified as several Disney princesses, including Ariel and Pocahontas, while still insisting she was the goddess Venus.
Well, she offered a little bit of everything, didn't she?
Yeah, she kept them entertained,
Sex,
I guess.
violence, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, lots of drama. Mm-hmm. A 62-year-old man's facing multiple charges after throwing a drink at a family in a Pennsylvania Wendy's. Police say Stuart Brooks became upset when he believed a 35-year-old woman cut in line. After accusing her, he followed her and stared down the mother, her children, and another woman who was with them, prompting one of the women to ask him to stop because he was scaring the kids. Brooks then filled a large cup with soda, approached the woman, told them to shut up, and threw the drink, hitting one in the face and soaking her. He then threw the rest at the other woman and the children. A manager diffused the situation, and Brooks left. At home, he admitted, telling her, "If you don't apologize, you're going to wear this." And then he confessed to throwing the soda in her face when she didn't apologize, claiming, "I just did what anyone else would have done in that same situation."
Right.
No.
Police strongly disagreed that that's what anyone else would have done in that same situation, and they threw several charges at him.
Oh, man. Just trying to go out and get yourself a Baconator.
That's all. Yeah, a Frosty. This guy, curly fries. This guy goes crazy.
He did what anyone else would have done.
Yeah, anybody would have done. A nurse at the Federal Medical Center in Rochester has been indicted after allegedly engaging in illegal inmate humping and then trying to tell federal investigators to get out of trouble. She told them a lie. The 37-year-old woman who worked as a prison nurse developed a romantic relationship with the inmate while on the job. The two reportedly exchanged explicit letters. And in April of last year, they had prison sex in a prison shower.
Now we're talking.
The relationship came to light after fellow nurses raised concerns, triggering a search of the inmate's cell. Investigators found hidden letters from the nurse, while letters from the inmate were later discovered in her backpack. When confronted, officials say the nurse tried to cover her tracks, filing a report falsely accusing the inmate of assaulting her and threatening her children. But that was a lie. Even after being placed on administrative leave, she drove from Iowa to Cincinnati just to mail a love letter to her inmate.
Oh, she's down bad.
She's accused of falsifying those reasons, and she will make her first court appearance next week.
A little caged heat, huh?
Yeah, she couldn't resist. The U.S. doesn't have a monopoly on steamy prison drama. Across the pond, another correctional facility couldn't keep things locked down or zipped up. A 26-year-old female prison guard's been suspended for getting way too friendly with an inmate there. This was at a scandal-plagued UK jail, already having all kinds of trouble. Katerina Tatus was arrested after an internal probe uncovered an inmate giving her an internal probe of his own. Details of the alleged inmate entanglement haven't been made public, but a coworker said she's a pretty girl and was very popular with staff and inmates. If she's done what she's accused of, though, she's ruined her career, said the narc. The caged heat controversy came to light after another prison employee filed a complaint. This latest prison sex scandal happened just months after another female British prison guard couldn't keep it under her uniform pants. She was sentenced to over a year in jail for something similar. But in this case, the 30-year-old married mom got caught on film having prison sex with a prisoner in his prison cell, which led to her arrest.
It's hot stuff.
Yeah, I guess the temptation is too much for some.
Straight out of Oz.
Idaho's governor is coming for those who put the hoe in Idaho after signing a new law targeting both beachgoers and bumper ornaments. House Bill 270 updates the state's indecent exposure law. It now bans not just the usual suspects like wieners, balls, and vaginas, but the new law also includes female breasts, male breasts altered to look like female breasts, and toys or products resembling genitals like truck nuts.
There's certain things people put on their trucks that look like part of a male anatomy.
They call them truck nuts. They're gross, they're offensive, and kids on the road see them.
Oh.
So why wouldn't the police get a call and say, that offends me, pull it off the truck? Because now this bill will allow it.
Apparently the change was made after a city council member spotted a topless woman at an event and asked a nearby officer it was illegal. The officer replied, nope. So the prude policymaker then said, not on my watch. The bill took effect immediately through an emergency clause signed Wednesday. Breastfeeding moms are still safe, though, as public breastfeeding is exempt.
Where is this happening again, where they're cracking down on every damn thing?
Idaho.
Idaho, of all places. Truck nuts. Go ahead.
Can't do it anymore.
Your thoughts, Josh?
I thought they were kind of funny at first. And then after a while, first time I saw them, I thought, there's nuts on the back of that pickup truck usually.
And the joke was over pretty quickly.
Yeah. But, you see them on cars that you wouldn't expect it. It moved on from pickup trucks. Other people did it.
Yeah, I think it's funny, but that might be because I've only seen it a couple of times.
For a while, they were pretty popular. Mm-hmm. And then you get the brass ones, right? The brass bull balls and the multiple colors. Yeah, a little bit of whimsy.
They go in all different directions.
I haven't seen them in a long time. Minnesota lawmakers are considering a new bill which would decriminalize the personal use and possession of psilocybin, the psychoactive magical ingredient to those not-so-average mushrooms. The goal is to take the heat off the justice system, encourage safer use, and let adults make their own wellness choices without worrying about mugshots or Miranda rights mid-mind expansion. If magic mushrooms become decriminalized, users would have to be 21. You cannot drive under the influence. You can't sell it or possess it near schools. All those things would be prohibited.
It better look like a regulated environment that is functional and isn't wild, wild west as we kind of see in the cannabis side today.
The bill would also create a brand new psychedelic medical board, that is, which sounds like a prog rock band kind of, tasked with overseeing how it would be used in Minnesota and ensuring best practices are followed.
Shrooms, huh?
Yeah. Some people say it really helps out with some mental conditions. PTSD has been mentioned, severe anxiety, that kind of stuff.
Maybe I'll be there someday.
I used them to microdose once, and I was golfing, and it was probably the most calm and just chilled out, happy I've ever been.
You used them to microdose.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's just a really small amount, so you're not tripping out. It just levels you out, makes you happy.
So you weren't trying to trip?
No. I was trying to just be in a good mood, enjoy my morning tea time, and it was fantastic.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps, hopefully they legalize it and whatnot. Ewan McGregor is 54 today. Angus Young of AC/DC, 70.
He'll be here next week.
AC/DC's Power Up Tour comes to town next Thursday at US Bank Stadium with the Pretty Reckless.
70 years old.
Christopher Walken is 82. School busing Kai Jesus checking in on spring break for the week. Hope it's a great one. Happy birthday to I'll Measure Anything Twice Jesus, turning 64 today from But You Didn't Mean Not To Jesus. Happy birthday to Oliver, who turned the big 01 over the weekend. And happy 33rd to Steven from I Throw Dodgeballs at Kids for a Living, Jesus. And that's 93X News.
Half-assed morning show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock and roll rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
Big time brawl now in the front row. It's going to take a lot to break this up.
Got to stay out of the crowd. This is not good.
This has been building on the last handful of possessions. Nas Reed had taken exception to Holland and was wagging a finger in his face. This crowd who braved the cold and the snow on its feet, applauding the intensity. The Timberwolves finally showing some fight in this ball game. And the officials are going to have a lot to look at as you look at DiVincenzo's neck.
The coaches are getting into it.
Dude, that was a lot of laughs last night. There are some types of violence that I really enjoy. I don't like most forms of violence. But when giant NBA players are choking each other out in front of a live crowd, I am all in.
Oh, yeah.
The only issue I think last night was that it actually poured into the crowd. That was a scary situation. There could have been some kids there. There could have been some things that...
Well, there were a couple kids.
There were. And it's that to me was... I mean, if they're going to fight, they're going to fight. That's fine. I get it. But to have that thing actually fall into the first couple of rows was not a good thing.
It didn't help
was
that
right there in the thick of it all. Had the best seat in the house. He's going to be the coolest kid at school tomorrow. As he got a Nas Reed jersey handed to him by Alex Rodriguez.
What was that?
Yeah.
Alex Rodriguez handed out jerseys to a couple of kids that...
Yes, that were in the middle of that last night.
Yeah, depending on their age, for some of them, that could have been like the coolest thing that's ever happened to them.
Oh, I'm sure they were scared, but you're right.
It didn't look like there was a lot of punches actually thrown.
I only saw one,
which was good. Which was good because, like Randy said, had an unruly fan with a couple of beers in him gotten a little out of control. You know what I mean?
Just accidentally get hit.
Right,
I mean,
that's
not...
That fan could have got involved, and then it would have gotten ugly.
Oh, see that? You call it ugly. I call it beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. To have a Malice in the Palace happen right here in town, man, I was regretting I didn't go to that game last night. Big scrap kicked in during the second quarter of the Wolves-Pistons game.
And it sparked the Wolves to win the game.
Well, sort of.
Well,
I mean, it took them a while to get going. If you watch last night's game, they were still piss poor for quite a stretch of time after that fight. It wasn't until Edwards got involved that they really started to build some momentum. I'm sorry, I saw that reported a couple times last night that the fight sparked this comeback. It really didn't. It really didn't.
Well, the only thing it did do is when you lost a couple of key players like that, it does. I mean, somebody had to step up. It was a pretty. They've been rather lethargic over the last week, especially their shooting and Edwards in particular. So from that aspect, it kind of got them going there in the second half. But
you lose DiVincenzo, you lose Naz Reid. And they also lost assistant coach Pablo Prigioni, however the hell you say his name. That was great. Pablo, assistant coach for the Wolves, is shoving around on the court. When this brawl happened, he's shoving J.B. Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Detroit Pistons.
I love that.
It was just...
Yeah, well, I'd watch out if I were Pablo. I know J.B. a little bit. I wouldn't want to get in that scrap.
I'll kick J.B. Bickerstaff's ass anytime he wants to come over and talk to me, Brad.
I don't think
you don't think so?
No.
Set it up, Brad.
No.
Set it up, Brad.
I know JB. I don't think I'm sorry, Nick, but I wouldn't take you in that one.
You think you know JB, you don't know jack squat.
I love that. Set it up, Brad.
I don't know if I've ever seen two coaches. A little bit of pushing and shoving like that. This was just a perfect basketball game. So 3 members of the Pistons were ejected and then you add in their coach. 2 Wolves, and you add in their coach. 7 total characters thrown out. And then, like I said, Edwards got going. They started playing for real, and they whooped the Pistons by near 20 points. Julius Randle had 26, Edwards 25. Rudy Gobert had a great game. Malik Beasley, 27 points for Detroit. Former member of the Timberwolves. Did you see the Wolves players taunting Beasley at the end of the ball game?
I did not.
No. That was maybe my second favorite part of the ball game. Of course, coming in first place would be the fight. Beasley does this idiotic hip swivel dance when he hits a three-pointer, right? Because he's special and he's only played for 17 different teams at this point in his career, but he still acts like he's some kind of big shot, right? I'll kick his ass too, Brad, if you know him.
No, I don't know him.
Have you noticed?
But I remember when he was here, everybody thought he was the cat's meow too. But
not me. But anyway, so no one has seen his little cute dance he does. Want me to show it to you real quick, Josh? It looks like this. He goes like this.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
He shakes his hips a little.
Yeah, he shakes his hips like he's Shakira or whatever her name is.
Shakira?
It's just idiotic.
Shakira, yes.
Idiotic, Malik Beasley, right? But he was trash talking his ass off in the first half when the Pistons were winning. Then he barely hits a shot at all in the second half. The Wolves come back and win. Both Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Edwards, as the game was ending, were standing on the sideline doing that hip swivel dance and locking eyes with Beasley. We need to move to the Eastern Conference so the Pistons can play here more often.
That may happen. If the Seattle Supersonics get a team in Vegas, the Wolves may move to the Central. They'll probably redo the teams.
That's what I've been trying to do that for about 2 decades.
They should be in with the Bulls and the Pistons.
Yes, they should. But are you bringing this up, Randy, because there's some new information or just...
Yeah, there's discussions right now about adding 2 teams in the NBA, Las Vegas and bringing a franchise back to Seattle. If they do that, that's 2 teams in the West,
right?
Which will mean that 2 teams currently in the West, probably OKC and the Wolves, might be relocated.
That'd be wonderful. Oh, here's a listener, St. Paul Lino Jesus, who says the players are lucky the boys from Maple Lake, 1991, weren't in attendance when the fight kicked in. So the Wolves outscored Detroit 38-23 in the third quarter. Edwards had 18 points. Up next, the boys are at Denver tomorrow night. God help us again with Denver.
They've got a 5-game road trip now. They've got 7 games left. Just to try to set this up here, they got 7 games left. The next 5 are on the road. So obviously that's a huge road trip because they're still not out of the play-in game. They're still in the play-in game as of now, so they need to have a big road trip here.
Yeah, they got to get her done, Brad Ryder, that's for sure. But that sure was fun last night. Man, DiVincenzo was friggin' pissed off, man. Oh, wow. All right. The Memphis Grizzlies fired their head coach?
They did.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
They said enough's enough.
Enough of what? Being the 5th best team in the Western Conference?
I don't know. He must not have been doing some things that they...
Got to be more to this story.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot more to that story.
The Memphis Grizzlies, 5th best team in the West. Sure, they're 8-11 or something since the All-Star break. It hasn't been terrific since the All-Star break. But 9 games left in the regular season, and they gassed the coach. So there's got to be something. He must have had a dispute with somebody. This guy's been the coach for 7 or 8 years down there. Seems like more than capable character, but they kicked him out.
The GM said it was due to the urgency of the season.
Okay.
Probably feeling like they were losing ground and maybe needed a spark or something. Yeah.
Maybe they were going to do it at the end of the season anyway, and they figured why not roll the dice and do it now and see if it helps.
All right, then. There you go. That's their problem. Here's what I heard him say on television last night, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. I heard him say, it's all chalk on the river walk. After this and that happened over the weekend.
All number 1 seeds.
All 4 number 1 seeds have reached the NCAA men's basketball Final Four. Now, that hasn't happened since the year of 2000+8.
Huh.
Coming up this weekend, it'll be Houston versus Duke, Auburn versus Florida.
More importantly,
yes.
What's the latest standings?
Checking
with the.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Checking our significant other NCAA basketball bracket challenge showdown to the death.
Yes.
We put this together at the start of the tournament to try and come up with a reason
to pay attention.
And a reason for all of us to possibly get together and get drunk when the tournament is over. We had all of our significant others fill out brackets. The loser has to buy dinner, drinks, lap dances. Right now, sitting in last place is Dana's brand new wife.
Oh, boy.
That's not surprising.
Going to get the marriage off to a...
Don't come back from the honeymoon. Just keep going.
And she has no opportunity to score any more points.
Oh, she's locked into last. It's over.
She's locked into last.
So
a lot of people gave them money for their wedding.
I was just going to say, they just got done paying for a wedding, and now they're on a honeymoon. They're renovating their house. He's in some serious trouble.
Guess what, Cubby? Not our problem.
No.
Not our problem. Although Dana's brand new wife has correctly predicted Duke and Florida to make the Final Four, she has them both losing their next games to Clemson and Iowa State. That obviously is not going to happen.
Oh, no.
But really, I got to tell you, overall, she did a great job. She had many correct answers. Many. But when you predict 2 clubs to play in the national championship game who were eliminated 9-10 days ago, you're going to get swallowed up.
Well, my wife was in the same boat. She had St. John's. So
yes.
We were.
It's like me telling one of my students, yeah, you got a lot of correct answers, but you got, 58%, so you failed.
Brad's wife, Cubby wife, Randy's wife. Very well done. Good-looking boards. Randy's wife, of course, made St. John's her national champion. Yep. That's not going to help her from here on out.
Nope.
None of our significant others got all 4 final teams correct, but Brad's wife, Cubby's wife, and Randy's wife got 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys want to come up with a prize for the winner, go ahead. We base this all on just the loser gets their ass kicked. But, you know, Dana's wife has absolutely no chance. She is locked in. She's locked into last place.
I don't think Roseanne does either because she picked St. John's to win. So either Brad's wife or Josh's wife.
I don't remember who my wife picked. I know she picked a lot of
If
favorites.
they picked...
Your wife, Brad Ryder, picked Auburn.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I want my wife, if she wins, to be able to have her pick of anyone's on the show for just one night.
Oh, my God.
She deserves it.
That is exciting. Anyone on the show.
Yeah. Or
one night of passion.
If she wins and she gets the champion, 2 nights. Or one night with 2 people on the show.
I love how you're just willing to give her away.
This is more for her than it is for me.
It doesn't sound like it, really.
It doesn't sound like that, no.
Man, what's the difference at this point in your life, right? What's your name again, Josh? What's the difference?
We've been together a long time.
Let her go out and have a...
Weird things happen to your mind after you turn 50, don't they?
All right, it's a done deal. Winner gets a night with Josh's old lady. Loser buys drinks, dinner, and lap dances. Yeah, all 4 number 1 seeds. I mean, all right, it's got to happen now and again. Whatever.
There are some who think this is the trend, that this will be something we will see on a fairly consistent basis because of the transfer.
Right.
Josh, if it makes you feel any better, if I win, I'll just take her to Target with me.
All right, you can pick out 2 things.
Yeah.
Television reporter Stephen A. Smith and I have something else in common, other than both being top-tier on-air talents. Friday, sometime during television coverage of the NCAA basketball tournament, Stephen A. was discussing recruiting in college basketball. And he said John Calipari, the head coach of Arkansas now, right? Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Correct. Yep.
He said John Calipari is the best recruiter in the game. As a matter of fact, Stephen A. said Coach Calipari recruits better than anyone since, quote, the late, great Nolan Richardson.
I don't think he's dead.
Where the hell'd my bell go?
Of course, he's going to be able to recruit better than anybody ever has there outside of Mr. 40 Minutes of Hell himself, the late, great Nolan Richardson. God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Oh, wow. He went for it, too.
Problem is, Nolan Richardson is alive and currently residing in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That is effing funny. I hear you, Stephen A. I make that same mistake quite. I don't know why I always assume people to be dead. I think it's a habit I picked up from Josh's recently deceased wife. I think that's where I picked up that habit. After returning from commercial break, Stephen A. tried to clear things up. He did.
How did he do that?
He said he's fully aware that Nolan Richardson is alive now.
After his producer yelled in his ear.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, trust me, I apologize for that. That is so funny to me. Especially picturing Nolan Richardson's cell phone lighting up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
For his wife's cell phone lighting up. Sorry to hear about your wife.
Right.
And by the way, we were talking about Dana's wife ending up dead last in our significant other NCAA basketball bracket mania. Dana would be here to defend her or maybe poke fun at her. But the sumbitch took off on one of those airplanes this morning for his honeymoon. We all attended his wedding last Saturday night, and by damn, what a wonderful night it was.
Gosh, he kind of even looked like a grown-up.
I know.
He posted
That's
some
what
photos?
I thought. He looked really mature.
No, it was a great time. That was awesome. One of the better weddings I've ever been to.
Can I mention again what his old man said?
Yeah, that was great.
For the first time, I got to meet Dana's folks, and after the ceremony and after speeches and everything, all the typical stuff, it was fun, no doubt. On our way out, my wife, I believe, said to Dana's old man, you know what? It was a beautiful ceremony. And Dana's dad said, yeah, it was different.
It was different.
It was different, he said.
Okay.
He wasn't impressed, and I like that about him. I like that about him. First time I got married, you know how that gimmick goes. At one point or another, the bride and groom have to say something on the microphone. And my folks were right in the front row. Huge crowd. It was way too many people there, but that was my ex-wife's idea. And I forgot, maybe my brother was the one who was the best man. We got along for long enough for him to be named best man back in those days. My brother, I think, was the one that got on the mic and said, okay, now it's time to hear from the bride and groom, right? I'm sitting there at the big main table looking right at my folks. My dad gets up on his feet, kind of looks around, reaches into his front shirt pocket, puts a cigarette in his yap, lights it, and starts walking away. And I said, hey, Dinkus, did you not? It's time. Your youngest child is about ready to speak at his first of 2 or 3 weddings. You're not. He was going to duck out and have a friggin' cigarette.
That's awesome.
I had to holler at him to sit down. I said, can you give us 5 minutes here, for Christ's sake? He also was not impressed. Not impressed. All right. Oh, Josh.
Yes.
You mentioned that a new twist to our significant other NCAA tournament bracket. Winner spends the night with your wife. A listener texted in and said, your wife gets to choose.
Yeah, she gets to choose
who she beds down with for one night and one night only. A listener said, texted in, plot twist, your wife chooses Ashley.
We could hang out, chill, watch some movies, make some cookies or something. Wholesome activities, Josh.
That was funny. You know, Ashley, it's changed how often she's got to eat now, eating for 2. And there was a time, Ashley, where I thought you were going to freak out because the cake was taking too long to be served.
Yeah. I was worried there wasn't going to be dessert. Me and Nick we agreed. We're like, hold up.
Oh, yeah.
Is there going to be dessert?
Yeah. You're looking at your watch like, where the hell's dessert?
This is important.
That's why I showed up. Luckily, there were cookies and whatnot. I said earlier, not the greatest start to the Twins season.
Oh. Yeah, it's early, though.
Yeah. They got their asses swept smooth out of the state of Missouri. The St. Louis Cardinals outscored them 19-6 in the 3-game series they lost yesterday by a final of 9-2.
Rock on. I'm going to take the high road, long road, and say it's way too early to pass any judgments on what. I mean, I thought in Game 1, 11 strikeouts was too much. They certainly have to figure out a way not to strike out as much as what we saw last year too. But it's early. And
I like to give it a couple of weeks.
And they started a series with the White Sox. So
yeah, the only reason it's a little bit concerning to me is how they ended last year. You just don't want to see them start the season the way they ended last year for too long,
Yeah, but I don't think they're sitting there thinking about last year either. I don't. They've been through a whole spring training. I just don't. I just think they ran into a very good St. Louis team that's got a lot of good pieces on that club and has some strong pitching. This is nothing the White Sox can't cure. So I think they go into Chicago, they'll be okay.
Are we going to talk about these new bats that the Yankees are using?
What do you think? You're dealing with a bunch of novices here, Brad Ryder?
Okay.
They look ridiculous.
Let me just wrap up.
Chisholm's bat.
Dude, it's got a big barrel on it.
Well, it's actually a little bit lower than the barrel. So they had bats made up where they moved a lot of the wood into the label. So the harder part of the bat is going to actually strike the ball.
All right. Where is this bat nonsense? Yes, I have it here.
I was surprised. So you can just do that? You can change a bat?
As long as you don't violate the, what's the word I'm looking for? The standard size, length, width of the bat. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it just seems like
the weight's just redistributed, and it makes a lot of sense. And I don't understand personally why teams haven't done this before or already.
Well, there are other players using the torpedo bats that aren't currently on a Yankees roster.
Okay.
But the Yankees made it front page news by hitting 9 home runs in their game against Milwaukee. What was this, Saturday? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They won 20-9. The Yankees hit 9 home runs. I got more on this ball game, but let's cover the bats first. They hit 15 home runs in their first 3 games against the Brewers. and several of the players are using these so-called torpedo bats, which are thicker at the sweet spot rather than being an even circumference all the way down. It puts more mass where the hitter is trying to make contact. Major League rules say the bat can be no longer than 42 inches. The thickest part of the barrel can be no wider than 2.61 inches. The bat must be one solid, continuous piece of wood. So as long as you don't break those rules, you can go ahead with this torpedo bat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this article does state the Brewers are having a bit of a pitching crisis at the moment, which definitely could have contributed to the Yankees' home run gangbang.
Right.
And there are other players from other teams using these bats, but you probably will expect to see more of them now that the Yankees clubbed the baseball all like they did over the weekend.
That's part of the reason I wanted to bring it up, is to kind of almost in a half-hearted way defend them a little bit, because it is legal, and I've seen a lot of people out there talking about how it's not fair and it's illegal. No, it's legal, and in softball, there's a lot of softball bats like that as well in fast-pitch softball, where they're shaped the same way with the same concept in mind. So it's not foreign.
This is great. All these text messages coming in. You should talk about the torpedo bats and the cheating Yankees. Well, it's not cheating.
It's not cheating, no.
It's only cheating if the Yankees do it. Everybody else can do it.
It's aggravating when the Yankees do it.
Yeah. Screw them.
In that Saturday game against the Brewers in the Bronx, bottom of one, Yankees' first trip to the plate. On the first three pitches, Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, and Aaron Judge all went dong skis. That's apparently never been done before in a big league ball game. 3 pitches, 3 dongs to start the game.
Well, that's a little bit on the pitcher, too. I think it was Nestor Cortez, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit on him, too. If you're going to throw it right down the pipe where those guys can hit it, you're going to get hit. It's just that simple.
They remind me of those wiffle ball bats. Remember when you have a kid and they have the big end to them? That's the whole concept, is to have that big end like that so you don't miss.
Again, they put 20 runs on the board in that ball game, hit 9 home runs. They hit 15 in the series. Man, I hate baseball sometimes. That's the first I heard of the torpedo bats, but they're not doing anything wrong yet. The Twins, by the way, back to the Twins.
Twins could use a few torpedo bats.
They move on to play Chicago, as Randy mentioned a couple of times. 3-game series starts tonight. Chris Paddock will pitch against Martin Perez.
Ooh.
Afternoon game. Sorry if I misspoke and said tonight.
What's the temperature like in Chicago today? Because if it's anything like here, it's probably not going to be super warm.
It's
and
36
the weather
right now.
36. They may not play today.
Yeah, it looks like there's rain coming too.
The weather around here isn't going to be very nice up until opening day on Thursday. Home opener, I should say.
Probably not.
45, 43, 4 degrees.
I don't even think it's going to be nice this weekend, is it?
It's going to get into the 50s.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll get into the 50s.
40s, yeah.
Speaking of the Twins' next opponent, the Chicago White Sox, they opened their season at home against the Los Angeles Angels. And folks are saying that the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the greater Orange County area had the most embarrassing opening day. They were destroyed by the White Sox on opening day. They went down 8-0, and they ended up using a position player on the mound because they were getting crushed by what was just last year the worst team in big league history.
Well,
so folks are saying this is an all-time low for the Angels franchise.
Yeah, but then they won the next 2 games, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I 2 out of 3.
Yeah, so I'm not.
Well, they're just talking about the opener. That's all.
Well, that's kind of unfair.
You're unfair.
I know. I'm not fun, and I'm unfair.
You're unfair. You didn't let me finish my sentence. You are unfair to all those hot single ladies out there for not giving them a chance.
Yeah.
For not giving them a chance. That's what I meant to say, Randy Shaver. Hey, boys, give me a minute.
By the way, the Tigers are 0-3 too, so we shouldn't be all concerned about.
Are we going to hear about the Tigers every week? Because
no, I'm just saying the Braves are 0-4. I mean, come on, it's 3 games in.
You and this Scooble kid should just have sex and get it over with at this point. Give give me a minute here. I got to tell folks.
Only if he brings Paul Skeens with him.
Paul, you hold the can.
You're not kidding. That's the thing is you're not joking.
I thought you were going to say Paul Skeens and his girlfriend.
Well, yeah, Livy Dunn, sure. I'm all in.
You would absolutely be the Eiffel Tower for Paul Skeens. Whatever that part, however that works, Josh. Though they call it an Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I got to let folks in on a chance to win something or another here real quick. The Oasis reunion.
Well, I'm glad those boys are getting along.
The brothers are getting along?
They hate each other.
Well enough to put on a show? Oasis Live 25. The Gallagher brothers are bringing their tour to the United States this summer, and we want to send you to see them at the iconic Rose Bowl in Los Angeles. You can score a trip for two with round-trip air, a two-night stay, $250 spend in cash, and 2 tickets to see Oasis live in concert with special guest KG Element. There's always a chance that these brothers are going to choke each other out like a Wolves-Pistons game. So this is pretty exciting. Right now, text the national keyword ALL, A-L-L, to 95819. Text that now to enter for a chance to win. ALL, A-L-L, 95819. Oasis is back. Somebody's going to get their ass kicked. All right, we did that. The Saints, St. Paul Saints, have a new food item on the menu. A 6-foot-long hot dog.
Did you say 6 foot long?
That's right, Randy Shaver.
6 feet.
That's crazy.
All right. It's got everything on it. 10,000 calories.
What does that cost?
Oh, my gosh. 10,000 calories.
What does that cost?
I don't know.
They didn't say.
How do you carry it to your seat?
They give you a big old... didn't you guys ever...
Shopping cart.
Did you guys ever order the boom stick?
No.
When Nellie Cruz was in town.
I did not, no.
They had I don't know, maybe it was a couple feet long, well, more 3 or 4 foot long chili cheese dog. They called it the boomstick at Target Field in honor of Nellie Cruz. I think that was around $50 or something like that.
Oh, my gosh.
If someone can look that up.
Well, this has to be more than that.
I'm not sure the price. 10,000 calories, 6-foot-long wiener. It suggested you and 10 or 12 of your friends fire this into your cake hole. But the Saints, my damn, they got an attitude here. Or this is maybe not tweeted by the Saints. I'm not a Twitter person. I'm not sure how this works. This message, I believe, came from Best of Minnesota on Twitter.
Yeah, this wasn't the Saints.
Okay.
This was that Twitter account.
Have you heard of them? Best of Minnesota?
Can't say I have.
Okay. Here's what they wrote exactly. They have a picture of this wiener. It says, the St. Paul Saints have announced a 6-foot-long hot dog, packing 10,000 calories to kick off this baseball season. It's suggested for 10 or 12 friends, but how much do you think you could eat on your own? No doubt your mom could take every inch.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
All right, here's
I think they misspoke, though. I think Josh's mom is what they meant to say.
You know what, Randy? Here's the thing. My wife is the one who found that and sent it to me, and she made that joke. My own wife.
Who can you trust?
She said that about her mother-in-law.
Her mother-in-law. The woman who bore you.
Yes.
Who can you trust anymore? Okay, people are telling me when they were selling the boomstick at Target Field, it was a $32 24-inch hot dog.
Wow.
This sumbitch, the 6-banger at the Saints game, 2 people have texted in to say they want $150 in trade for that hot dog.
$150?
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I couldn't find a price.
If you throw down with people, it's not that bad. If you actually plan on splitting it.
That's just what a couple of texters have told me. The Brotherhood is usually spot on.
True.
The brother and sister buy damn hood.
It seems pretty I guess, satisfying, too. I doubt you'd eat anything else after that.
Oh, hell no.
I don't think
I wouldn't want to
think
see
they'd
another
have
hot
to use
dog
the
for
cart to wheel
about
you out.
6 months.
Even if you share it with people, I mean, it's loaded up with a bunch of stuff, so...
Oh, yeah, you're not going to be stopping by Taco Bell on the way home.
You're probably not going to get a helmet sundae or any cotton candy.
No.
You might be hitting a Holiday gas station for another.
A little inside and outside.
You guys have seen the videos of those poor bastards who try to have a beer and a hot dog per inning?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Ugh. They just look like they'd rather be dead.
Oh, miserable.
Yeah,
Why be miserable at a ball game?
So they can be popular on social media for 15 minutes.
That's just...
Those guys,
crazy.
I've seen a few videos. They look, by the 8th inning, they look as if they'd rather be in a casket. Or the dudes who try to take great advantage of dollar dog night.
Oh, I got a few buddies like that.
Ooh-wee. I couldn't do... I was a big dollar dog night guy. I would go every chance I got for many years. Because I love ballpark hot dogs. And, of course, just being at a live ball game. I never went beyond 2. Come on, for Christ's sake. I want to be able to get home and have a normal evening.
I'm with Randy, though. I don't want to be sick all day.
Right.
When I was younger, I'd go for it, but yeah.
We were
Little pro tip, you never want to go and eat a hot dog at a ball game the day after dollar dog night, because I've seen what they do with the leftover hot dogs the night before.
Oh, sure.
Hot dogs are safe.
Doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me a bit. I don't give a rat's ass where you keep them.
I'm surprised you went to dollar dog nights, because those usually coincide with like the children's nights when they got the schools there and stuff.
I can easily ignore that.
Saying, having worked for the Twins, I know what they used to do with some of that concession stand food at the Metrodome.
They should just give it to me.
Yeah. Doesn't bother me, Brad Ryder.
All right.
I want to taste the beaks and the feet. I do.
I've worked at a couple of restaurants, and it's not much better, I promise.
I enjoy the taste of beaks, feet, lips, a-holes, whatever. Put it in a tubed meat, and I will be first in line.
Just lather some ketchup on it. It's all good.
Oh, stop that.
Too far now.
Jesus, you're offending everyone tonight. Me with the ketchup comments. You're going after Cubby's mom.
Whoever's running the board today, I hope they're freezing some of these comments and using them.
Running the board? Oh, Christ, I knew we forgot something.
Who's running this thing?
We should say thank you real quick to Cato, co-host of The Pit.
Yep.
The all-hardcore metal show here on 93X, Saturday nights 10 to midnight.
A little too loud for my taste, but it's a good show.
Yeah, it's loud for everybody's taste, for a lot of people's taste.
Cato, thanks for helping us out and filling in for Dana, who's on his second of, 3 or 4 honeymoons.
You're very welcome. I did want to mention, I was looking when you were talking about the 6-foot-long hot dogs. It does come with 4 sodas, so you can include that in the price as well.
Oh,
great.
All right.
Oh, that makes a difference.
But it's still...
Diet sodas, perhaps?
It's still, $150 is a lot of money, but the sodas, they count for something. I missed that part.
Those probably aren't cheap.
That knocks $15 off, something like that.
You guys know who else works on The Pit with Cato, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Grant!
Grant! That goofy bastard.
Somebody asked me the other day how that came to be, and I didn't have an answer for them.
That's because Nick couldn't remember his name, Graham.
Yeah, and they're like, but I don't get it still. And I'm like, you never will then.
Oh, it goes back to, what was the name of that show? Puppet Cranks. Crank Yankers. Look it up. Grant, sip puppet. You want to talk about a piss-poor deal while we're still talking baseball? On opening day last Thursday, a Pittsburgh Pirate by the name of Nick Gonzalez, he went yard. I believe it was the first dong of the season for the Bucks. The poor guy starts limping around the bases, and the next day his manager says he has a fractured ankle, and he's headed to the injured list. Evidently, the fracture took place while he was simply rounding the bases.
Oh, man.
This video is up on 93x.com.
He was in the middle of a routine home run trot, and somehow he broke his ankle.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there must have been something happening to him prior to that. That just doesn't happen. Probably was feeling something prior to that, and...
Well, something had been loosened up.
Yeah.
At one point or another. Friday night in the Mariner Athletics ball game, Seth Brown of the Athletics is up to the plate. He saw 5 pitches called balls. After the 5th ball, he took a walk, and no one noticed that there was anything wrong with that. This Seth Brown said nothing after the 4th ball. The Athletics dugout said nothing. The announcers said nothing. And then it turned into nothing. The next
what did the umpire say? He's the one that's calling it.
Nobody noticed a thing. The pitcher and catcher, I can imagine they might have wanted to keep their mouths shut. But the umpire said nothing after the 4th ball. The batter, the dugouts, nothing. No one noticed that it was a 5.
The umpire had to have miscalled it or something for everybody not to recognize that.
It was weird the announcers didn't say anything, too.
Nothing. Weird.
Well, sometimes the announcers can get distracted and maybe not pay attention to that. But, I mean, all 4 umpires, they didn't realize that? That makes no sense.
No one said a word. The Pigs play at New Jersey tonight. Okay, they got curb stomped over the weekend by the Devils. They got to play them again tonight. The Russian kid and Joel Eriksson Ek have been practicing, but they won't be playing for the Pigs on this year's road trip. All right, Ovechkin scored his 890th career goal yesterday. Now he's 5 away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's career goals record.
The Wild may just want to just keep those guys practicing until it's playoff time.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, there's no reason. I mean, unless they're in danger of not making the playoffs, there's no reason to play them right now. Unless you want to get them going before they start.
I want to play them with a couple of games left in the season.
Maybe 1 or 2. Jimmy Snuggerud left the Golden Gopher Hockey's program.
Good for him.
Hockey's program. He left the Golden Gophers to sign with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, there's like 5 of those Gophers that left.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive to have 5 guys just leave and go to the NHL. That's
what they
tells
do.
you how talented your team was.
You play a year or 2 and you go off and you go to Florida and you get the money.
My fiance was saying, they can get signed to NHL teams, but they can't win a championship.
Tell them to shut up.
Well, it doesn't always work that way, right? I go back to that thing I brought up a couple of weeks ago, Nick, about Rutgers. They got 2 guys that'll likely be drafted in the top 4 picks in the NBA, and they were like a 500 basketball team.
That's a weird deal.
It doesn't necessarily correlate.
By the way, your NCAA Frozen Four, hockey Frozen Four, will be Denver, Western Michigan, and Penn State, Boston University. Penn State has got to be their first crack.
Oh, it has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Denver, the defending champion, beat Boston College. Well, this will happen in 4 or 5 weeks. You know how college hockey does it.
Yeah, they wait till after the Final Four. It's been a while for Western Michigan, too, I know. They haven't traditionally been very good for a while either.
The Broncos, Brad Ryder.
Yep, Kalamazoo.
I hate that they wait until the basketball tournament is over. I just hate that crap. But what am I going to do about it, Randy Shaver?
Yep, nothing. Not a damn thing.
No.
Wisconsin, according to a listener, Wisconsin is the state of women's hockey. He wanted to make a shout out to the University of Wisconsin River Falls Falcons, NCAA Division III women's hockey champions. Friggin' Wisconsin. I can't believe you lived there for a while, Ashley.
It was fun while it lasted. Then I got really bored. There's not much to do.
That's how you got pregnant.
That's usually how it goes, right?
It's been like 4 years, man.
Well,
it's just, when is this baby going to come?
Some processes are longer than others. All right, before we go, I got a little NFL note here for you boys. The NFL has refused to consider a new rule that would replace onside kicks. They've been discussing this for the last couple of years, where instead of the meaningless, the onside kick sucks these days.
Right.
It's terrible. No one has a chance ever to recover an onside kick.
Well, it's not true, but yes.
Oh, come on. What is the friggin'
I think the percentage is like less than 10%.
Oh, for Christ's
less
sake.
than 10%.
It's garbage. So this new rule would have placed the ball at the 25-yard line, with the kicking team facing what is essentially a 4th and 15. If they convert, they keep the ball. If not, the other team gets the ball at that spot.
See, that's too easy.
I agree. I agree.
4th and 15 is too easy.
15 yards is nothing these days. Make it 4th and 30 or something closer to that.
Exactly.
A 15-yard gain in the NFL these days is nothing.
No.
The way teams can throw the ball, make it 4th and 30.
Yeah.
But they threw it in the trash can anyway. Today's onside kick completely sucks.
Yeah. It sounds like the tush push could be gone, though. Could be banned.
I'll wait. Wake me when that's decided.
I mean,
I couldn't care one way or the other.
That's the Eagles' main offense.
Yeah, I couldn't care one way or the other. Again, be grateful for the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't ever forget.
No, I'm not. I am grateful. Trust me.
But a 4th and 15, that's like a 10-point lead in today's NBA.
That's not worth it.
Like a 10-point lead in the NBA. It means nothing.
Could put fewer people out in the field for an onside kick. You know, you have to declare.
Open the field up a little bit.
Just a kicker and one guy on the other side.
Well, maybe not that extreme.
That'd be so fun.
I mean, fewer people would make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it's like overtime hockey is 4-on-4. If you take fewer, maybe it's 7 guys on the field and you open the field up. That might make it more interesting.
I'm okay with whatever you come up with, Brad Ryder. Anything but the onside. Well, like I said. Okay, how about this? There's your kicker lining up for the onside kick. The only other guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage is the other team's kicker.
There you go.
And the kicker kick, and then you got two scrawny kickers.
Kickers to the death.
Running their asses off after a bounding football.
I love that idea.
If that doesn't put asses in the seats, I don't know what will.
Kickers to the death.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Oh. All right, you dirty bastards. What, did I miss anything?
No.
I think you covered it all.
Did you have a great weekend?
Yeah. It was good.
Watching hoops?
Other than the snow sitting out there right now.
Yeah, that sucks.
Jeez, come on.
Winter came back to kick us in the ass real quick.
Yep.
And that home opener is going to be chilly.
It's a little chilly. Yes, sir.
I've been to a few chilly ones. Remember the time, Josh, those dudes were ice fishing in the upper deck?
That's a pretty good bit.
Yeah.
That was cute.
I love that bit. I want to say that we were part of that. Didn't we kind of request that on the show? And then later on that afternoon, the two Twins fans had the bib overalls on and they had their jig sticks out and they were...
I'd love to take credit for that.
I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to take credit for that. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Brad and Randy.
Okay. You bet.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and T.J. Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, X-Pac.
Getting suspended in school, that's the number one thing people, when they meet me, they tell me.
I got detention.
Yeah, everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liv Morgan.
I couldn't believe that was my time. I was so grateful.
Talking about living dreams. No pun intended, TJ. Relax.
I rarely do these anymore, but I was really looking forward to this.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program. My damn, we're just getting started for the work week. Monday morning. Thanks for dialing into the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. You're a pimp crowd. Just straight up. Scientific research plays a decent role around here, doesn't it, Josh? We cover a lot of results from scientific studies.
Even though you guys don't really believe them ever because you don't believe in scientists.
Scientists? Are you kidding me?
There's no such thing as scientists.
You know how I approach them every time, Josh? I say, well, Mr. Scientist, go ahead and give me the results of this study. I'm always very sarcastic with them. There's some effed up things that those folks take the time to look into. It's part of what makes it fun when discussing it on a radio show. I mean, bizarre sexual stuff and on from there. Don't get me wrong. Science has given us life-saving medicine. Oh, Cubby, space travel and other wonderful things. But it's also had some effed up ideas that could have killed us all. Killed us all dead. What I have here in front of me, some of the weirdest, wildest, and most unhinged experiments conducted in the name of research. Some of this stuff goes way back. Way back. Some of it not so far back. And it's kind of frightening that these ideas were actually put into motion.
I'd imagine a lot of these ideas are probably still happening in remote parts of the world, you know, to get away from laws we have here in the U.S., don't you think?
Dude.
Experimenting with some of this stuff.
I never considered that.
That's only from spy novels I read. But it seems believable.
I never considered that.
That it's probably still going on.
I don't want to know.
Creating super soldiers and things like that.
I don't want to know. Well, you know, speaking of experiments, what are you doing this weekend? I'm kidding. Josh, didn't you once consider sitting down for some kind of like eating a brownie or something and seeing the results? Wasn't there? Is this the liquor talking?
I mean, I was offered to be part of the medical marijuana study for epilepsy.
Oh.
Is that what you're thinking about?
That must be. I'm looking over at you and I'm thinking I thought you had a story. I
did a drinking experiment.
You did a drinking?
You know, like just like you did on air, I did it off air with the police.
That might be what I was thinking.
But maybe you're thinking of my wife when my older kids were babies. She would donate their used diapers for whatever reason.
And she was paid for that?
I think she got free diapers out of the deal.
Oh, that's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, Ashley, you should talk to her about it. They still do it as far as I know.
Free diapers in exchange for dirty ones that your kids make.
That you're going to throw out anyway.
And you're going to throw, and the scientists can sniff them and do whatever the hell they do.
I don't know if it was like the diaper company testing absorbency or what. If she's listening, maybe she could text me, but I can't remember why. But she did that for a while.
Testing absorbency, right.
It could be, yeah.
When I was extra poor, I thought about being a part of some of those drug trials they do where you're completely fine, but they have you take a depression medication or whatever it is for a couple of months to see what the true side effects are.
You said this was when you were really poor?
Really poor. Now I'm just kind of poor.
They we're all kind of. They offered you a few bucks in exchange. What, did you read about it on the internet?
Yeah, I saw it in a couple TV shows, and I thought, I wonder, like, what there really is to that. And then I got too scared. It seems way too risky.
Josh, do you remember? Okay, so you turned down the opportunity to be part of this marijuana versus epilepsy deal.
Yeah.
Where they're going to have just sit around taking big fat marijuana pills, smoking.
I never got further than they asked if I'd be interested, and I just said I really appreciate the offer, but
like a big old blunt.
I have no idea. I'm going to guess no.
Probably not.
I'm going to guess it was pills of some sort, but I don't know.
You have a 6-foot bong. That's the only thing you're allowed to use.
And the drinking experiment, right? I remember you telling us about that. Okay. I mean,
that one was at a bar.
Yeah.
With a police department.
Right. Not a live radio thing.
I learned a lot. I just thought I was going to go for the heck of it. I totally thought I was fine to drive when I was not, according to the breathalyzer. I easily would have driven home feeling like I did.
Yeah. All of this stuff we're discussing, these personal things that Josh considered and Ashley considered, I've never had it cross my mind, but this is all on a much smaller scale than what is mentioned in this write-up on the weirdest, wildest, most unhinged experiments conducted in the name of research. Let's start in the 1920s. Tell me if you've ever heard of the Humanzee Experiment.
Yes.
You had?
No.
Yeah, where they...
Spy novel?
No. They tried to inseminate chimpanzees with gentleman's seed.
I don't like that.
He's friggin' right. That's insane. That's horror movie stuff, man.
Would you be terrified if it worked? I obviously they would prefer if it worked, but I wouldn't want to see that work out.
But we do it the old-fashioned way, don't we?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way to get it done. You got to do it the old-fashioned way with the chimpanzee. Soviet biologist. Soviet? I suppose back then they were the Soviets, were they not, in the 1920s? Okay.
Correct.
My political skills are limited. A biologist by the name of Ilya Ivanov attempted to create a human-chimpanzee hybrid, which he called a Humanzee.
You know, our old coworker Ross was kind of a human-chimpanzee hybrid.
Yeah, I think more orangutan.
Orangutan would work
because
too.
of his buffoonish size. But sure, he looked half primate.
All right, my wife has texted me for the diapers. It was absorbent C. They were testing how well they did, and I guess she got paid a little bit too.
Nice.
Not only did she get free diapers, but a couple of bucks out of the deal.
By the way, we're not kidding if you don't know about our late coworker Ross. He was a tall dude. You should have seen the size of the casket they put him in when he died.
He didn't die.
So back to the Humanzee idea from the 1920s. This damn Russian, whatever you want to call him, Soviet biologist inseminated female chimps with human sperm.
Yuck.
None of them became pregnant. So after deciding that his original idea wasn't horrifying enough, he then planned to use ape sperm on female human volunteers.
No.
For whatever reason, that seems like it would be worse. The product would be scarier.
Dude, I don't know. I'm sure you're right. He ran into a snag, though, when he was looking to take monkey spuzz and use it on a female human. His last, I guess he had an orangutan in a cage somewhere. His last orangutan sperm giver died. And then, okay, he's thinking, well, this puts up a roadblock. Shortly thereafter, it sounds like somebody found out what he was up to, and they threw him out of Russia.
That's good.
They sent him to Kazakhstan, where, of course, Borat came from. All right. There was a guy who killed himself to prove that there is an afterlife. Again, in the 20s. He was a spiritualist named Thomas something or another. He was insistent that he could send messages from beyond the grave. But he's got to test this theory, right? So he made a pact with some woman. He sat in his apartment, he turned on the gas, and he died. And then days later, the woman claimed she did receive a message from him.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
She didn't. Not at all.
Not once.
Nope.
Apparently, Harry Houdini had this same pact with his wife. Okay, Harry Houdini, the famous magician.
Yep.
They had a secret code word that he told her, look, after I die, I'm going to use this code word on you during a seance.
Well, aren't you dead if you're contacted via a seance?
You are dead.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't want to prove that he was immortal. He just wanted to prove that after he died, he could communicate with people.
They must be a little goofy if somebody goes along with this.
Well, yeah. So his wife held numerous seances after he died. And she said he appeared, but he never used the code word. Okay, whatever.
Then no.
Isaac Newton, what was his deal again? Gravity?
He's the gravity guy.
Okay, he wasn't just obsessed with gravity, he also wanted to understand vision. As we're rolling through the most unhinged, disgusting science experiments ever conducted. He was obsessed with understanding how the eyes work. It's always the eyes. He's got a doll's eyes, like lifeless eyes. What movie? Jaws. He was obsessed with eyes, so he stuck a blunt needle into his eye socket and pressed on his eyeball and noted how it changed his perception of light and color.
Buddy.
Yeah, that's what he did. He also would stare at the sun for extended periods of time, nearly blinding himself.
Yeah, me and him aren't very cool. He's responsible for calculus.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you invented calculus?
Yeah.
The two of you could never be friends?
Nope.
Because of...
I never made it to calculus. We didn't go that high.
Oh, it was awful. I took it in college. It was terrible. Terrible.
Are you kidding me? I don't think I ever heard the word until I was in my mid-20s, for God's sake. Good for you. Good for you for even
I had to.
taking a chance. The next experiment was called the Mouse Utopia Experiment. This was a scientist by the name of John Calhoun. This isn't all that long ago. Between 1968 and 1972, this guy conducted the Mouse Utopia Experiment. He built a mouse living area with unlimited food, water, and nesting materials. This is according to this dude, John Calhoun. He said at first the population boomed, but as space got tighter, mouse society collapsed. Mice became violent. Mothers stopped caring for their young, and a group that he called the beautiful ones emerged.
I remember learning about this.
They were passive, antisocial mice that did nothing but eat and groom themselves and stare blankly into the void. You learned about this?
Yep.
He believed, this Calhoun, was the experiment. The way I should have said that is he believed the experiment was a warning about social breakdown in overcrowded societies. But some argued it said more about just putting too many mice in a box and expecting them to start a functional democracy. You read about this in school?
Yeah.
Overpopulation, and they brought this up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, yep. That always freaked me out whenever that topic would come up.
Well, it's the first I've heard of it.
There's just too many people.
We obviously we took different classes back in school. We took different classes. There was a Romanian scientist with the last name Minovici. He wasn't satisfied with just studying hanging. He wanted to experience it himself.
Oh, I know where this is going.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you think that...
He's under the guise of science, autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, that's where you think. He hanged himself with a non-tightening rope 6 times, and I guess that didn't satisfy his curiosity. He upgraded to a real noose and tried that 12 times.
Dang. That's gotten pretty lucky then.
Eventually, there's like a joke here at the end of this portion of the article. But I believe what they mean is that he ended up killing himself while trying to study hanging. He suffered terrible damage to his neck. But here's the joke. It says here, on the bright side, he became the only scientist to write a study and his own obituary at the same time. Does that joke lead me to believe that he ended up killing himself?
No, there was like something that attacked his vocal cords. Maybe it was related, but he didn't. It wasn't like the rope attacking it and asphyxiating him.
So he didn't kill himself by hanging?
Not by hanging, I don't think.
But it destroyed his vocal cords. Okay.
I think that's the same guy that did tried to correlate tattooing and bad behavior. He did a scientific study on
same guy?
I think that's the same guy.
I neglected to mention this guy apparently did the self-hanging experiments in the year 1904. So you think it's the same guy who...
I think that's the same guy, yeah.
Minovici?
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Almost done with our Monday broadcast here on the Half-Assed Morning Show, but before we get going again, we got a few more things to cover here in our conversation on the most completely effed up scientific experiments ever conducted in the history of man effing kind. Some of this stuff is just ridiculous. What nut job comes up with ideas like this? So far, we've covered the Humanzee Experiment, where a biologist was going to create a human-chimpanzee hybrid by inseminating female chimps with human sperm. We got a guy who killed himself to prove that the afterlife existed. Isaac Newton stuck a needle in his eye to better understand vision. The Mouse Utopia Experiment, where they fired a bunch of mice into a cage and they all killed each other. And a dude who hung himself over and over again because he wanted to understand it better. Now, what's funny is, I got one text message from a listener who says, come on, these scientists were just trying to get laid. Very well could be true. But another message came in that said, Antoine Laurent, or some damn thing, did an experiment where he got beheaded because he wanted to see how many times he could blink. Now, that very well could be true, but what I have in front of me from this report is a little different. A French doctor by the name of Gabriel Barrault, or something along those lines, wanted to determine if a severed head remained conscious after execution. They called this the facial expressions of the guillotined experiment from 1905. We've probably all heard once or twice, right? When you cut somebody's head off, they remain alert for a certain amount of time. You've heard that, right?
Yeah, It takes a couple seconds.
Okay. That's what this guy was looking into in 1905. He would hang around the guillotine neighborhood and watch victims and their facial expressions. My God, what a morbid gig. And he said in one particular situation, a guy was getting guillotined by the name of Languille. That was his name, the guy who was getting his head chopped smooth off. He watches the guy's head come off. He said, the face relaxed a little bit, his eyelids half closed. And then the scientist, I guess, the doctor, Barrault, hollered the guy's name as loud as he could. Languille! And he said the dude's eyelids picked up a little bit. This is what he researched.
Well, I don't know. Seems like it would just be muscle spasms and whatnot, but maybe.
It says here the scientific community remains skeptical about post-decapitation consciousness. It's unclear at this moment. But, yeah, I've heard things like... One of the freakiest things I ever saw was when we were kids. We captured a massive snapping turtle up north and brought it back to the cabin. We were like 6th grade kids. We found this massive snapping turtle on the road and brought it back to the cabin, tied it up and whatnot. Brought it back to the cabin just to show our dads, hey, look what we caught. Well, little did we know, our dad said, well, yeah, let's cook it. They enjoyed eating snapping turtle. So someone cut the head off the damn thing, and then you nail it to a tree to bleed it out. This is what I was shown as a 6th grade kid before you cook a turtle. And I was totally unaware at how it would remain snapping at you. The head is completely severed for hours and hours and hours. If you put a stick in front of its mouth, it would try to snap it.
That's crazy.
If you touched the feet, we had it nailed up to a tree by the tail so it would bleed out. If you touched the feet of the turtle, it would try to move. Hours after the head was cut off. That freaked me out. All right, next experiment. What did you think about this, Josh? And back in 1962, they went ahead with the elephants on LSD experiment.
Seems pretty dangerous.
19...
I don't want a drugged up elephant.
1962. This is something that should have been, this sounds more like 1862 than 1962.
Although, when was LSD big? Wasn't it kind of around that time?
I suppose maybe there was no such thing as, I don't know. I'm not late 60s, I suppose.
So maybe that was kind of it. Hey, all these people doing LSD, we should see what happens to an elephant.
That's got to be it. Scientists decided to inject an elephant named Tusco, very unoriginal name, for starters. Let's be critical of that name. Scientists decided to inject an elephant named Tusco with 3,000 times a regular human dose of LSD, whatever that is. Wow. 3,000 times the human dose of LSD to see if it would trigger a state of extreme aggression. Instead, Tusco, the poor elephant, collapsed and died within minutes.
That's so terrible.
So I guess what they learned is overdosing a massive animal on psychedelics is exactly as bad an idea as it sounds. One more final. The 21 grams experiment took place in 1907. A doctor believed that the soul had weight. Literally. He weighed dying patients before and after death and claimed that they lost exactly 21 grams at the moment of passing. And his conclusion was that this was the weight of the soul leaving the body. To further test the theory, he weighed dying dogs who showed no weight change. So his conclusion was humans have souls, but dogs apparently don't.
Yeah, right. That would be the opposite.
Jesus, these people are frightening.
Would you allow yourself to be weighed pre and post-death just to see if your soul weighs at least 20?
I don't know. I suppose if they give my family a few bucks, what do I care what they do on the way out?
Exactly.
Right? But are they going to probe me to find my soul first or anything terrible like that?
21 grants? Is that what you said?
21 grams.
21 grams.
Yes, that's right. My God, that's frightening stuff. Cubby, before we go? Or there is nothing before we go?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty. It sounded like you were going to tell me something.
No,
yeah. We got plenty of shout-outs here. Shout-out to Army Mailman Jesus and his classmates graduating from the U.S. Army Battle Staff course at Camp Williams in Utah. Happy birthday to Thing 2 Jesus from Thing 1 Jesus. Happy 36 to PD Midwest Jesus. Happy birthday to Fat Bald Stepdad Jesus from Iron Range Jesus. Happy birthday to you, William. And then happy birthday to Local 34 Pipe Insulator the Third Jesus from your super hot wife, White Claw Dry Cleaning Jesus. Thanks for choosing to start your week by spending a little time with 93X this morning, and have a great Monday.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.